What up, everybody? This is Dregs One. Welcome to a very special episode of the History of the Bay podcast, recorded here at Empire Studios in San Francisco. My man Trevor Potter behind the lens on the boards, getting us right. And today we have a very special guest. This is someone I've been communicating with for a minute. It's quite a story to tell. But before we introduce, I want to let people know that this is somebody that has played a serious role in San Francisco Bay Area hip hop since the 90s. I'm gonna give him his flowers because not only on the beats, on the rhymes, in the booth, but in the business, behind the scenes, this independent hustle that we're known for. This guy's put a lot of people on. He's put a lot of projects out. So many projects I could barely even research everything because it's just so much work being done. So many of your favorite Bay Area artists' careers. This guy has impacted from Larry June to Messy Marv to Jacka, Stalin, the Mob Figaz. Not to mention his own impressive body of work. Talking about the one and only Guce.
Yeah.
What's up, Juice?
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. You feel me?
It's love, bro.
No,
it's
for
love.
real, for real. Salute to everybody out there, everybody that know and everybody that don't know. We're going to inform you correctly, properly. You know what I mean?
No doubt. No, I'm glad we're doing this because, growing up in Frisco, your name was always ringing.
Right.
I was coming up when Bullys Wit Fullys had the rap game in a chokehold out here.
Oh, man.
But I know your career goes back even farther.
Right.
And I also know that you're a real Frisco cat, but you've moved around a little bit. You've touched different soils and different turfs, different projects, different areas, different sections.
Yeah.
Where were you born?
San Francisco.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I was born on at UC on Parnassus.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Moms didn't even make it to the you know, when they put you on a bed or whatever. She didn't make it to that far. I came right out in the elevator.
In the elevator?
Yeah, I came out in the elevator, man. Right up there at the UCL Parnassus, man. Over there in the Haight-Ashbury district. Yeah, nah. I'm from Frisco, man. Straight up. San Francisco.
And from there, Hunters Point?
Right. My family is from Hunters Point. Actually, they're from Middle Point. You know what I'm saying? It's called Middle Point. Back in the days. My uncles was a part of one of the first original gangs, Gladiators. Hunters Point, it was called the Gladiators. And then from there, we kind of just, you know, as a kid, you know, you kind of move around. I know a lot of individuals that I grew up with. You know, a lot of us went to church in Fillmore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, you know, I don't know if you know like some of the homies that I know, but like for instance, like you heard of D Folks?
Yeah, I know D Folks.
D Folks.
Mm-hmm.
Toriano, like who else I could think about, like, but it's not cats like the rap world, no, but it's like the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like cats like LB and them over there in Lakeview at the barbershop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Kev and them. Just, you know, the list goes on and on. A lot of us went to church at Fillmore Neighborhood Baptist Church as we was kids. You know what I'm saying? So like the things that you do in regards to where your family move at, or, you know, when you moving around, for instance, YGC.
Right.
Youth Guidance Center.
Mm-hmm. You got caught.
Right? I got caught. But shout out to Benet and his pops, Mr. Hogue. Mr. Hogue was one of the counselors up there. Benet from Fillmore. A lot of people don't know Benet, but, you know, for those that's watching that do know Benet from Fillmore, you know what I'm saying? His father was Mr. Hogue. Mr. Hogue was up there at YGC. He was a counselor. Jack. Remember Jack? With the beard, Jack.
Yep. Jack Jaqua.
Yeah. Used to be in Potrero Hill, but he was also a counselor up there. He worked at the I think the YMCA right over there, off of what is that back there in the Mission District? That YMCA over there, right there, like before. It's right between 17th and 16th. I don't know what, but anyway, just moving on, just being a layman. But like individuals like that, and just being at YGC. When I dropped that album, when I first came home, I beat the odds. When I beat my case and I dropped that album, that's an actual real picture of us in Juvenile in YGC. You see what I'm saying? But all of those individuals in that picture are from different areas, you know? And when you meet individuals from different areas, you politic with them in those different areas, and that what creates the kind of relationships that I got just moving around from different spots and building relationships with other individuals on street shit though. We ain't even talking about music. We just talking about street shit. So whether it was going to church with some of the old school homies, whether it was being in juvenile, whether it was going to school, we moved around. My mom moved around. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'm from Hunters Point. But at a certain point in time, I was in the VGs, or I might have been going to school in Fillmore, or I might have been raising dogs over here in Sunnydale. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm claiming all of these different areas. It's just that's how I'm moving. I'm moving around like this at a young age, and I'm building relationships. That makes sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
What you're speaking is like very common in San Francisco.
Right.
It's actually a very tight-knit community, especially the black community.
Right.
Because most of our families came here around the same time.
Right.
A lot of people got cousins, grandmas, aunties, uncles.
Exactly.
Different housing situations, housing lotteries, all that type of thing. And people go to school and all that stuff.
No, it's crazy because it's like, I remember, like just, still just touching bases on the street stuff. Like I remember when me and, it's a cat from Fillmore named Safalo. And I remember when me and Safalo, we was kids, we was getting in trouble. I went to Friendship over there, Turk Street, the real green projects back in the field, Fillmore back in the days. I went to Raphael Wheel over there in OC projects, you know what I'm saying? And then I went to the continuation schools. One of them was, I think it was on Fail, and then the other one was on Divisadero. But me and Safalo, we was fucking up. So I can cuss, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Me and Safalo, we was, getting kicked out of school, going to continuation schools and all the shit. But it was funny though. I remember one thing about Safalo. He would when we would come they would kick us out of the school, and we'd be leaving. We'd be walking. There used to be a bank over there, and we'd be walking over there by the Panhandle Park in Fillmore, and he'd just turn around and just start swinging on me. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? And I'd have to fight him back. I'm saying all that to say, certain individuals that I grew up with, you couldn't really be around if you wasn't ready to defend yourself, And so it's just things like that. Like I got so much history with so many people. Like we probably gonna be on this podcast talking for hours.
Yeah.
Because I could just roll call so much shit in regards to the individuals I done grew up with, I done bad shit with, I done been locked up with, I done been on their blocks, they done been on mine. I don't see no problem with that. If it's some real shit and it's 100 and y'all keeping it a beam, that's how it is. That's how I go in the city.
Well, that's what I like about this platform, because this is the type of shit that people watch. Like, okay, he said that. Right. Okay, he's talking about this. Okay, that's some real shit. Okay, we can verify that. And because a lot of people, when it comes to hip hop and quote unquote gangster rap, a lot of people like to make shit up. You know what I mean? And what we're doing right now is stamping shit.
Yeah, we got to stamp shit because it's a difference between street shit and rap shit.
It is.
A lot of these cats, you know what I'm saying, y'all heard of them through some rap shit.
Yeah.
You found out about me through street shit. Then I started being a rapper. It's a big difference. I built my repertoire, you know what I mean, through being out there. I was really outside.
Well, you mentioned YGC, so you got in trouble from an early age?
Hell yeah, I got in trouble in an early age.
Yeah. Which unit were you in?
B4? I was in B3, B4, and B5.
Okay, all right.
You know what I'm saying? Lockdown, man.
Did a couple tours.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you know, anybody been at B5, you already know you on the cell screaming through the window.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it was what it was. It ain't nothing to glorify, but it's just the truth of if you was an individual that was outside, then you was fucking up, you got caught.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. I wouldn't change nothing though, because it made me who I am today. And I built a lot of relationships with a lot of good individuals, man. And we all just out there just, trying to figure it out.
What do you think it was that started leading you in that direction? 'Cause you mentioned your grandfather was in the street gang, right?
Well, my uncles was. I ain't never really had no pops growing up. Like my uncles ran that nigga off. You know what I'm saying? Like he was in the house, and he had a bowl of Coke. I guess he was bagging up some Coke or something. And he turned his back, and I ended up getting to the Coke. Luckily, I didn't consume it, but I was playing in it. You know what I mean? And my uncle and my grandfather found out about it, so they, whipped out, aired him out, got him up out of there. I feel like, you know, I'm grateful for him, you know, the connection that he made with my mom, but, you know, you should have came back for me somehow, some way, you know, figured it out. But the streets raised a nigga.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So whatever I believe to be the best way to survive, to do whatever it is I needed to do, that's what I did. And if I got caught, then you just, you know, you figure it out and go back and do it again. You know what I mean? Like it sounds stupid, but at the time we believed in what we believed in growing up. Yeah. So if I see homies riding around in Coog Nuts and Stangs on gold ones and with Zapcos and, you know what I mean? Back then we had hard puts and everybody wearing Adidas and donkey ropes and triple goose coats, and I want that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be catching the bus to school. I'm gonna pull up in the green Cougar on gold things with the white top, with the white guts. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Candy apple green. You know, that's the type of shit that we did. You know what I mean? So you get caught. I believe at the point in time where I know I went to YGC the one time, but then the second time is when I got choked out like Snoop Dogg in Training Day. You know what I mean? I try to throw the dope in my mouth when the gang task came through. I tried to throw the dope in my mouth, and he grabbed my throat, and he choked me, and he made me throw the shit up, and he was calling me like stupid or whatever. And then they took me to juvenile, and they was getting ready to send me to YA, but then moms came and was like, "Oh, we finna move," and then the judge took my case and sent it to my mom was moving to Sacramento, so the judge took my case and sent it to SAC. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? You following the trail now, right?
Yeah, so now we're going to Sacramento.
Exactly.
Which is not the Bay Area, but our distant relative up the way.
I mean, the history with Sacramento and the Bay is a lot deeper than certain artists want to give in regards to whatever their knowledge is, because they might be, quote unquote, doing their thing today. But even Lil D, that's home now. Very, very popular in Sacramento. A lot of Oakland individuals was in G Parkway. This is when everybody was 415.
Yeah.
We all was out there in G Parkway hustling. You know what I mean? But I got a lot of relationships where whether I'm over here in Oak Park, you know, P branded, whether I'm over here in Oak Park or whether I'm in the G or whether I'm over in Elm Streets and the Heights fucking with niggas, or if I'm over here on 29th Street hanging with the homie Sebo. You know what I'm saying? The relationship, that's, you know, like we got a lot to talk about, but if you think about it, I'm in Sacramento. Me and Sebo is locked up in the boys' ranch together. Mind you, me and Bo know each other since we was kids, because we would always have our family reunions in Sacramento. And then I got a lot of relatives in Sac. So when you look at the situation and then you look at Sebo and the Mob Figaz and Get Paid, your light switch go off. Now this shit starting to make sense. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, Juice already knew Bo, and then the Mob Figaz, and then the story goes on and on from there. You know what I mean? So it's like that, man, just moving around. I went to SAC, and then from there, I still kept fucking up, but I went to SAC and out there and was doing the same thing, but I kept coming back and forth.
Okay.
Back and forth.
Okay. So
we still on point, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I don't want to lose you. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a lot to cover, though.
Yeah. Well, they just got to keep up as they watching and listening, because I know that the social media world out there, they smart. You know what I'm saying? They smart, and they got to be sharp, and they got to understand when a conversation is genuine and keeping it a being. I don't really got nothing to sugarcoat or dance around, because I really was outside doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was street or whether it was music, putting somebody on.
Right.
I really did that.
Well, it's interesting how, like, this is also like the way the rap game was back then, is how tied in it was to the streets, to where if people know you from being outside, that you're already popular.
Right.
You're already networking with people that are involved in rap, whether it's financing it or performing or distributing or whatever, these are some of the same fixtures that you run into.
Come on, Dregs, you know how we was financing that shit.
Yeah, I do.
Birds in the kitchen, palms itching.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We whipping that shit, getting on the block, taking that money, investing it into ourselves. We might even be at the dice game. You know what I'm saying? My partner M1, we had some studio time or something to do. He in there, you know, hitting them. You know what I'm saying? Take that winning money and, you know, and we off to the lab or whatever the case may be. So that's what it was. And you got to think about it. How many groups from the Bay Area was actually called Bullys Wit Fullys? And I'm talking way before Mess. Mm-hmm. You dig what I'm saying? And we come and we come in an era where you had to really be what you was about, or somebody was gonna get on you. We come from the era where people picked up the phone and asked questions. Is this dude really that? Because when they come through here to do a show, we're going to lay something down. You know what I'm saying? We're going to run through them if they ain't really what they saying they is. Yeah. So that's the era that I come from, is that you had to really be outside in order to put some music out and be talking that shit, or somebody was going to get on your line.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, let's get to one of the elephants in the room.
What's up?
In Sacramento, the culture there is heavily associated with gangbanging.
For sure.
And that's something that you fell into as well.
Right. For sure.
Okay, how did that come together?
Well, that came about because my family, you know what I'm saying, is Bloods, you know, and it started in Sacramento. So let's set the record straight. We ain't saying Frisco Bloods. You see what I'm saying? My shit is certified and justified. It's history. Ask any real street nigga from the Bay Area, a street nigga, not no rap nigga. You know what I'm saying? Especially not no rap nigga that wasn't even around me, moving with me. You dig what I'm saying? That's the elephant in the room. Ask the street niggas, and they'll tell you. That's Blood Box. Before my name was Juice, it was Blood Box. You see what I'm saying? And I was out there, and you know, I got put on in Sac, and that's where it started. And I was a kid when I got put on. When I got from YGC going to Sacramento, I became a Blood. William Breed can even contest to that. Mm. You feel me? And and salute to William Breed, man. Because you know, he had did time with my cousin in the feds, and my cousin called him, and they talked and we talked, and it was some understanding had to be made, you know, in regards to what it was. Because William Breed will tell you today, he'd tell me that when I came home, he was like, Juice, man, fuck niggas. You ain't got to keep talking about that shit. Like, if they don't know, they don't know. If you know, you know. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't got to keep explaining yourself. If they don't know who Blood Box and Ready Rock is, then that's on them. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, we'll get to that too. I just want to establish it because to me it's an interesting conversation I had earlier this year with James Beasley. Okay, talking about the fact that Crips and Bloods did not have a major presence in the Bay Area.
No, they didn't. They didn't, and I don't know who could be actually running around and saying that they did, but also. However, to say it ain't no Bloods and Crips in the Bay is like saying ain't no Bay niggas in L.A.
So, yeah, exactly. There's individuals
it's
with
individual
connections.
Shit. Yeah, it's individual shit with connections.
Yeah,
on top of the fact that, you know what I'm saying, the 415, you know what I mean, at that time was clicked up, you know, would click up with the Bloods. Like, we're talking street shit, penitentiary shit. So, at the end of the day, when the Serranos want to click up with the Aryan Nations or with the Crips or however you want to look at it. You know what I mean? Certain individuals that were smaller organizations had to come together in order to survive behind them walls. But there's nobody running around saying that they're this, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's a Bay Area Blood. No, that's not. Like, know your history about the individual that you're talking about. And I think that the thing is that so many individuals are so quick to try to get on a podcast and just be like, ain't no Bloods in the Bay. What is you talking about, nigga? Like, who are you referring to? You talking about Mess? You can't be talking about Blood Box.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Who you talking about?
I think it's accurate if you want to say there's no Blood neighborhoods, right?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
And we don't even got to get into the past or the history or whatever it was or whatever it could have been.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We're just talking about the fact of it's turfs out here.
Yeah.
There's gangs out here, but there's turfs, there's neighborhoods, communities that rival against each other. Whatever an individual is, that's what he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying, oh, there's Hunters Point Bloods. Like, nah, that's not what I'm saying. But the history of whatever the fuck my life is and whatever the fuck I did and went through in life, nigga, I'm from Hunters Point, but I got some blood affiliation. I got some Crip relatives. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, who the fuck is the next nigga to come and try to tell me that what it is with me, it ain't? Mm-hmm. What you moving around with me? What you done aired out some shit with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, we talking real street shit right now because at the end of the day, me airing some shit out is documented. I did just come home from on appeal, didn't I? Mm-hmm. Yeah, for attempted murder, right? You know what I mean? So, like, what are we talking about here?
I respect it because I think more people watching out there need to separate the music from the street.
Yeah, because you'll let a nigga come in here that's a rapper and say anything.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? And niggas sound good when they talk what they talk. They got the ability to use their mouth to sell music, right? So when they podding, they saying shit and the shit sound like it's justifiable or it's real. But that ain't what it is, man.
Well, I'm just personally curious about this.
What? Talk to me.
Because you also spent some time in the VGs, right?
For sure. It was my blood box days.
So the VGs, I recall dudes running around the VGs with red rags.
For sure.
But I recall that as not as VG Bloods.
Nah.
It was just this was the color chosen to represent.
It's an individual thing, and there's certain individuals that's down there that was in that were Bloods.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's certain individuals down there that were Bloods. There's certain individuals that was in Patrol Hill that was Crips. You know what I'm saying? Like, a person that try to say, like, oh, only person we remember is Ollie B. No, there was Blue over there on the other side. Then you had the other cats over there. Like, it's not to open up can of worms and bring up old shit. You see what I'm saying? But it's like, at the end of the day, motherfuckers be podding, bro. They be getting on these podcasts to try to make themselves look like they're more than what they are, and they try to lie. Like, nigga, the truth is what we need. The truth is what we need. So is there blood neighborhoods in the Bay? No. And what else is there to say after that?
Not much.
You know what I mean? Like,
not much.
What else is there to say after that? It's an individual situation. A certain particular individual chose to be whatever he chose to be and deal with whatever he chose to deal with. Mine is with my family. And I got homeboys that'll step up from the streets and say, yeah, we put Juice on. You know, Juice was a kid, 11, 12 years old. You know what I mean? Way back in the days before some of these niggas was even born. That's even commenting on shit.
Well, there you go. So that's why I wanted to, like I said, stamp that. We'll come back to that a little later down the line because it's gonna resurface again in your story.
Yeah, for sure.
But in my research, I found that you started recording in Sacramento as well. Is that correct?
Recording music?
Yeah.
And when I was rapping?
Yeah.
No,
didn't start in Sacramento.
Nah.
Before or after?
What you mean? Like, it's
Did you start recording before? Did you start making music before you went to Sac or after?
Nah, I used to be making music a long time ago. Like,
okay.
Well, not actually recording, but like with me and Sebo and Chill Be Dope. He called himself Chili Bowler now. Chili Bowler was one of the cats that actually taught me how to put words together. And I used to beatbox before I was Bloodbox. They used to call me Beatbox. You know what I'm saying? And, I used to be beatboxing while other niggas be rapping, but then it turned around where I started beating on the table and I started rapping. But all of that started in the Boys Ranch, but not recording nothing.
Okay.
Just us just rapping like in the Boys Ranch.
What were you being influenced by locally as far as music around that time?
Everybody that we grew up on at that particular point in time, you know, I want to say I'm gonna say the individual that made me really be like, fuck that, I wanna rap. First of all, let me tell you this. When I put out the album with the, being Bloodbox, because of the gangbanging, like trying to walk through the mall in Sacramento and trying to sell your tapes or whatever, and then you got Crips that, nah, I don't fuck with that. You know what I mean? Because of the gangbanging shit. And so when I sat down with an individual from Riot Records, and we was talking to somebody from Jive Records, and they was explaining to me, like, this ain't the type of name that you can put next to Mary J. Blige for a feature. You dig what I'm saying? And so that's when I came up with the Juice. Now, it was Gin and Juice. We was a group. It was a straight-laced mob. That's when I started recording, but the influences was the individuals that was out, my peers. RBL Posse, Get Low Players, Huey MC, Rappin' Forte, Paris, 11-5, IMP, Ill Mannered Posse, cats like Fly Mar, Big Mac, Budweiser and DeRace, Herm Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I missing anybody? UDI, Cold War Hustlers. Did I say Dre Dog already? No. Andre Nicotina. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like, that's who I smoked my first blunt with as a kid. You know? I'm going to be all over the place, but I'm going to be giving you jewels. You know what I mean? Because, like, my Uncle Will, shout out to my Uncle Will, he used to, run this, like, Big Brother program, with Renee and all of them in Fillmore. They used to play basketball at Hamilton and Ellie Hill Hutch. Yeah. Right, back in the days. And so we all was a part of the Big Brother program, but I used to be going to the Banneker homes fucking with Dre Dog. You know what I'm saying? And I smoked my first blunt of skunk. I was high in a motherfucker on the bus, scared, thought I was gonna die. But yeah, that's who I smoked my first blunt with Dre Dog. We was walking after a game, man. And so yeah, that was just a jewel I wanted to give you. Like, I just go to show you how far I go back. But I remember Hennessy and them was rapping back in the days, like those, like my peers, like people like Total Devastation and Equipto and, different individuals like that. Like everybody that was out here that was working before I was working, like creating a body of work, was the things that was motivating me. E40 in the Click, Dangerous Dame, FM Blue, Sido, The Loonies, you know what I'm saying? Like all of them guys, like the list just goes on and on. AMW, that's a group that just go way back. The Delinquents, like a lot of these dudes that I have relationships with, that I done music with, those were the guys that I looked at, and I was just like, and I knew in my soul spiritually that this was what I was supposed to do. But what I will say is that Black C is, when I heard him talking about the I think it's about time, use my 9, that shit motivated me. Like, I'm like, okay, this is for me. And mind you, I'm just getting out, I'm locked up. I'm out there staying in Antioch. I'm fucking with Woodie. Remember Woodie? Rest in peace. Yeah. I'm fucking with Woodie and Shadow and all of them guys in Antioch. Like, you can get Shadow on the pod and ask him. You know what I'm saying? My Latino part in Shadow. Now, I'm finna give you another jewel. Boom. That's how the black and brown situation came into play. When Julio talked about he got the black and brown shit from me on the interview he did, he said he got it from me.
Yeah, he did.
We was driving down Highway 101, and me and Juice, he was like thinking, you gotta make a name, with your record label. And he was like, you know what? I'm gonna give you a name that I was gonna use it, but this fits you because you grew up with brothers all your life. And I'm like, what? And he was like, man, Black and Brown Records. And I remember, and I was like, Black and Brown, Black and I was like, then I looked at him, and I was driving down 101, and I was like, Black and Brown Entertainment. That's it. And he was like, yeah, so it was tight, man.
He got it from me because me and Shadow was gonna put out an album called Black and Brown. But then Shadow started going through some shit back then with him, in Antioch, whatever he was going through, he had to deal with some stuff with his family. So when Julio started working on 17 Reasons, he was like, man, I need to come up with a name or whatever, and just me and him on the freeway, and we just riding, and I'm like, call your shit Black and Brown. I'm like, bring the blacks and the Latinos together. Julio, you owe me a Rolex, bro. For real. But
you okay, you going in again. Stamp. Keep stamping shit.
Yeah,
we
nah,
stamp
for
the
real.
street shit, now let's stamp the rap shit.
I mean, it's gonna go back and forth because a lot of shit still stems from me being in the streets, and a lot of it stems from me moving around.
Yeah,
I'm moving around.
Well, the first tape I saw from you was Blood Box and Ready Rock.
Right, that's me and Ready Rock Reg. Rest in peace.
Okay, so that wasn't that was recorded.
That was recorded in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you put that out, you start selling it yourself.
Out the trunk.
But that's when you realized the name wasn't.
The name wouldn't be able to, get me in everybody's car. You see what I'm saying? So I had to change my name. I had to switch it up. I had to reinvent myself and come back with something that wasn't offensive to nobody. So I came with, and I couldn't do the Gin and Juice because even then, Job Records was like, oh, that sounds like Gin and Juice, the song with Snoop and Dr. Dre. And so that's when I changed it from using the J for the juice, I put the G. You see what I'm saying? To throw it all the way off. Gangster under construction with experience. So now I'm creating a name where I got everybody calling me Juice with a G. To me, that's a part of a sign of greatness, because I got everybody to say Juice when people are pretty much known for saying Juice is Juice. You know what I'm saying? But no, Juice with a G. That's going to separate me from everybody else. Any other Juice, whether it's OJ the Juice Man, or it's Juice from Chicago, or if it's Juice from Arizona that was with Black Wall Street.
Or DJ,
any other,
DJ Juice.
Or DJ Juice, my man, salute. You know what I mean? If it's any other Juice, you can't say that it's that Juice, because that Juice is from the Bay, from Hunters Point, from Frisco, and it started with a G.
So was that you and Ready Rock that rebranded into Straight Lace Mob?
No, it's me and my boy Jen.
Okay, Jen.
Ready Rock had passed away.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace to Ready Rock. My boy Jen, you know what I'm saying? Who's also from the Point. We created the group, the Straight Lace Mob, with the Buster 415, rest in peace, Sean Mo, and my partner JT, Juvie T. We was the Straight Lace Mob, and that's when the birth of Juice began.
Yeah, coming out the fog.
Coming out the motherfucking fog. You know what I mean? It is just like, and that's not even my greatest body of work, but it was just in that moment, tight, I was just trying to find myself.
Yeah, I like the old school Frisco 90s cover.
Yeah. On with the bridge, with the windbreakers, right?
Yeah.
Those windbreakers is now North Faces, but you know how I go. Shit, man. Shout out to the Buster 415, rest in peace. That's who came up with the name Bullys Wit Fullys.
So that album came out. That was also the first on your own label, Get Paid, right?
Get Paid. And then from there we started working with Riot Records. But from that, I went to my freshman album, solo album, which was Pure Pressure. Shout out to Big Web. Big Web producer, you know what I'm saying? My guy, Mano's brother, rest in peace, Mano from 11.5. Yeah, that was his brother, Big Web. He was the producer for that project. And Enhancer, that had that signature whistle.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Right? That signature whistle, that Frisco sound. Enhancer did a couple things on there. And that was my freshman album. And that's when I started to really, really recreate myself. That was my first time with my first features. Again, shout out to Black C and Hitman, rest in peace. They did that song with me, Check Yourself. Coldwell Hustlers is on the album with me. Just getting those features and just wanting to work with people and just looking at it from that perspective of I need to collab. I at some point I became the collab king, so to speak.
Yeah.
I kicked in the door for collaborating, but we still on point, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to lose you.
No, you ain't gonna lose me, brother. But I wanted to ask another question about Straight Lace Mob, because you did mention that you had like Shadow in the group, right? From
Shadow? Yeah, Shadow. That's my folks to this day.
Yeah,
he be rapping with Last time I checked on his body of work, he's doing a lot of work with AWACS. When I talk to him, he's doing a lot of work with AWACS.
Yeah, I always respected that dude's pen. So you touched down in Antioch, and that's how you met him and Woodie around the same time?
Yeah, I was just living in Antioch, man. I was working my way back to the Bay, but the thing is, Antioch had them spots, man, for a nice price. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too motherfucking expensive to live in the city, man, you know, when you ain't having it like that. So the farther out you live, the cheaper it is, the cheaper the rent is, you know? So I was out there in Antioch. But shout out to all of them guys out there, man. And just the relationship that I built with them guys. You know, they was all young, 16. Woodie riding around 16, 17 years old in that green Regal. You know what I'm saying? And Shadow riding around in that brown coupe nut on gold things. Like, them guys was babies out there living that life back then. You know, and Shadow pen was crazy, you know? And I trip off how a lot of people have their own story and their own relationship in regards to Woodie and Shadow. But it's funny that none of them guys even knew that I was even there.
I knew that Shadow was in your group.
Exactly.
But I didn't know that came from you being in Antioch.
Yeah, it came from me living in Antioch.
Damn, bro, you get around, bro.
I be moving around. Man.
Damn.
Listen, man. Any real cat from San Francisco, man, that really got this game.
Yeah.
Man, you could take this game, man, on any place on the planet.
This is what we do. We
and pop that shit, man, and you gonna survive. If you a real nigga, you gonna survive. Yeah. So we take this game wherever we go. And we do what we do.
But you didn't want to keep the group thing going. You decided to just strike out.
I had to go solo because I started to. Man, groups is hard.
Yeah.
Groups is hard. Collaborations is a little bit better. But groups is hard to keep together when life be lifing.
Yeah.
You know, this person over here going through this person over here going through this person going. Let me tell you something. One time, I had a shot at going on tour. Well, not so much as tour, but maybe like 4 to 5 shows with Andre Nicotina, right? Dre Dog. And I did so they had this one spot in Oakland. I'm just speeding up a little bit. We can get back to it, but I just want to tell you this. Mm-hmm. So they had this one spot in Oakland that everybody used to freestyle at. It's like an open mic night. Like Saphir was there, rest in peace. You know, it'd be Bathgate and them, Steady Mob, and like just different people would be there. We would all be there. And so I had got up on stage. I think I had started dropping the mixtape series called Tell Me When to Stop because I already go. So I'm up there and I'm performing this, and so Andre Nicotina team is there and they watching me. When I got off stage, they asked me did I want to open up for him, and I was like, hell yeah. So I was supposed to open up for him on Van Ness. Remember when he used to do them shows all the time at the ballroom on Van Ness? Right? So I was supposed to open up for him, having people with you, having group shit, having everybody around. I was late because these niggas wanted to get some blunts. These niggas wanted some now ladies and sunflower seeds. I was late. They didn't even let me in the event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I wanted to say that to you in regards to that is the whole issue with keeping groups together. There's nothing wrong with it if the chemistry is there and it can mesh. But if not, to protect your peace, it's better to be solo.
Yeah, everybody has to be on the same page.
Everybody gotta be. It gotta be a silver lining with everybody.
Yeah.
But life be lifing.
Well, okay, so then that leads you to put out Pure Pressure, which is a Frisco classic. You got all the classic 90s Frisco groups.
Right. Got everybody on there.
All on your own label. You're working with all the right producers, everything. So now you're in the game.
I'm in the game. First time I did 25,000 units in less than 4 days.
Hell yeah. All out the trunk or distribution?
That's just distribution.
Yeah.
Out the trunk is like, that's separate. That's just the first weeks with the promotions. Remember how we used to have one sheets and all that shit back in the days? Like, just with the promotion, I was Juice. I was the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
Right?
You had all the right features.
I had all the right features. I went and got with all of the homies that I had relationships with. You know, shout out to my boy Mike. You know what I mean? We kicked off the Get Paid thing together. And that was the first time I ever did that many units so fast. And it was on and cracking from there. It became real to me. Yeah. Like, okay, I got something here. I ain't perfected it yet, lyrically or whatever the case may be, but I got something going on.
Yeah.
In regards to where my peers who are already hot, they starting to recognize me. That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We may act like it's not a thing, but that's a thing. When you getting in the game, if you ain't hot enough to get niggas to pay attention, then you gotta keep working at it.
Yeah, you gotta build your own emotion up.
Right, gotta build your own emotion.
Yeah. Okay, so was that the album that had Western Bay Players on it, or was that the
Yes.
That was okay. So that was a video. You had the church lady singing on the boat.
Yeah, that was my auntie.
That was your auntie.
Yeah, that was my auntie. You know what I'm saying? I shot the video right there on Third. Shout out to all the homies
You had the
out
cutters
there on
on.
Third and
You had the
Newcomb.
cutters and the flannel
Yeah,
on.
come on, man. That's Frisco. That's us. The cutters, the jersey, Frisco hat to the back. You know this. That's Frisco, man. That's what we represent. Candlestick still existed.
Yeah,
Huh?
Yeah.
All Night Market still existed. TikTok was still down the street.
Wow.
Huh?
I like that video, bro. It's very nostalgic. But I remember when like Third Street would look like that, like on a regular day. Type shit.
That's when we was really outside.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy too because do you remember Anthony Daughtry?
Mm-mm.
All right, Anthony Daughtry, he worked for Def Jam. He was like one of the top promoters coming out of the Bay Area. Shout out to AD. He was the guy that actually walked me in the first time I met Sway and Tech.
Mm.
And they started playing Western Bay Player on the radio.
That's fine.
That was the first time through AD. And I met Sway. Sway brought me in there, sat me down. Still the same the way he is today. And he played Western Bay Players, and then from there, like, it just, different things kept happening that, you know, kept me wanting to be progressive. And I was hungry, Dregs.
Yeah.
I was hungry, bro. Like, I knew then that I wanted to be bigger than where I was from. Not bigger as in, like, better than where I'm from, right? I love where I'm from, but bigger as in getting my message out to everywhere.
Expansion.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Did that happen? Did offers start coming in? Did people start paying attention, or was it still?
I mean, offers came in. Like, I remember being signed to SMC Universal and things of that nature. The deal didn't really go through with Jive Records because Riot Records didn't want to let me go at the time. So when Jive was interested in me, while they had 40 and they had Spice One, while they was interested in me, and they was actually called in the office. Like, I was like actually sitting there, and I was listening to the phone call, but it wasn't shit I could do about it because I was signed under contract.
So you were signed through your label or as an artist?
I was signed separately from the label.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I was signed separately as an artist to Riot Records. That was the whole thing. Like, and that's why, you know, being a layman in the game, you have to get your business shit right.
Yeah.
You got to get your business shit right. And that's why I respect an individual like JT the Bigger Figure. That's my bro. We go back like 8 tracks and Coca Sacks, man. JT taught me, he said, dot your I's and cross your T's. He said, if you do business with a motherfucker and they get you, it's your fault, not theirs. Because you didn't know your business and you allowed them to get you.
I heard that. I agree.
Yeah. No, it's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't get mad to the point to where you want to go knock somebody down.
Yeah,
you know
you
what I'm saying?
Take accountability.
Get your business together. And so at that particular point in time, I'm young. I'm running the streets. All I really care about is selling some dope and getting some money. But I got a passion for doing the music, you know? So when I do the music, I'm just so excited to like be, you know, I'm getting my album cover done where everybody else from the city getting there. I'm going to see Victor Hall too. Like, Victor Hall sat me down and sprayed the water all on my face and took the pictures. And you know, back then to get Victor Hall to do an album cover was like 5 G's.
Yeah.
You know, 7,000, 10,000 to get Victor Hall to do your artwork. I mean, he was the guy because it was authentic and nostalgic. It was very professional. It wasn't like you could just put some shit on the computer now like they do and just create some shit. Like, you actually had a photographer in there and he was shooting it in black and whites and hanging it up and letting the colors, you know, when it wants to film dry out or whatever. He was doing the whole little process. Remember when we used to have the black and whites?
Yeah,
right.
When she
where you sign them, when you do your autograph signings and shit. All of that shit costs money.
Yeah, hell
you know. So at that particular point in time, I was just excited to just be like getting heard. Like I'm working at enhancers and Selsky's coming to. You know what? Just to get off record right quick, Selsky. Shout out to Selsky because Mr. Predictor don't get the credit that it's supposed to get.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite albums.
That was one of the hardest motherfucking albums that came out of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. Hands down. Like, I was just slapping that shit the other day, right? And I'm like, I'm listening, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, niggas don't, like, that album, Selsky was ahead of his time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to give him his flowers, man. And I don't know why I always did that, but it's like, nah, you know what, like Selsky, like took, that shit was slapping.
Hell yeah.
You could put the Mr. Predictor in right now. If you really love Frisco music, you put that motherfucking album in right now. That album was hard, front to bottom.
I grew up in Lakeview. I always say that album sounded how Lakeview felt. It was definitely how it looked.
Niggas getting smoked every day where I come from, the Bay Area, San Francisco, California.
That shit's like
and
foggy,
the beats was knocking.
Yeah,
man, come on, the beats was knocking, man. Like, so I just wanted to, you know, get that out there, man. But that's
shout out to Selsky.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to give him his flowers because I was slapping that shit and I was just smiling listening to that shit, and that was like part of my motivation.
Yeah,
that was part of my motivation that inspired me as a Frisco nigga to say, if my peers is doing this shit and I got talent, cause everybody can't rap.
No,
it's not as easy as you think. You know what I'm saying? To play with them words and put that shit together, because all of them guys back then, they was ahead of their time. TC making them beats for them guys, how he was doing that. The drunk motherfucker. I was just with TC too the other day. Like, I went to the hood, hollered at TC, and shout out to Huggy, and I saw the homie Buck. I ain't seen him in a while. I saw my homeboy Bookman. He did 20 years and came home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just rolled through the hood and just, you know, just looking at how much shit ain't the same. My bad, bro, if I be everywhere with it.
It's a conversation. It's not an interview.
Yeah. We just chopping it, man. But yeah.
But I did want to ask you, speaking of like your peers, because there's like this track. It's hard to find. It's like a bonus track. It's like
with me and J-Dog and Coogna.
J-Dog and Coogna.
Yeah. That motherfucker was hard.
It's not on your album.
Nah, it was the single.
It was a single.
Remember
on the tape.
We used to put out single? No, it was a single for vinyl.
It was on vinyl.
It used to be. It ended up being on a cassette, but it was because I wanted Coogna and J-Dog to be on the album, but they didn't make the album in time. So I came with the single, which was the A track and the B track.
That's what I was wondering.
And that shit was hard.
Yeah.
Coogna, rest in peace, man. I miss that dude, man. That dude, yeah.
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 He kind of destroyed that track.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I just also like the fact that it's like the three of y'all just like.
That shit was hard.
Chilling in the studio.
That beat, we was at Enhancers. We did it at Enhancers. I did a lot of shit at Enhancers. I did some music with Seagram, rest in peace. Remember Seagram?
Mm-hmm.
I did that at Enhancers. Like, Enhancers studio was the stomping ground for, you know, if you wanted to network or politic with anybody from the city that was really doing their thing. And then, but there was a thing about Enhancer and them guys that I noticed back then was that you couldn't just get in the studio just because you had money.
Yeah.
Like, you had to really be like, your shit had to be right. If your shit wasn't right, they wasn't fucking with you.
That's dope.
Nobody want to waste time, you know, like, you know what I'm trying to say. I ain't trying to knock nobody, but.
No, go ahead, knock them.
Sometimes
weak shit got to be called weak.
If your shit was weak, you couldn't, you know what I mean? You couldn't get in Enhancer studio. So
that Peer Pressure was successful and you followed it up with
If It Ain't Really Official.
Okay.
That's the
one. Well, it wasn't Clear and Present Danger.
Nah, Clear and Present Danger came after.
Okay.
After If It Ain't Really Ain't Official.
Okay.
If It Ain't Really Ain't Official, that's when I knew, like, I got something. Like, that's when I'm going and I'm fucking with producers like One Drop Scott and Sean T and Kurt Crumpler. And, you know, I'm trying to create my own sound now.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got the Frisco sound, but pretty much everybody from the Intermittent Records chapter, they pretty much owned that sound. Everybody I was working with TC
You
pretty
said
much
they owned that sound?
owned it.
Owned it. Okay.
Yeah, they owned that sound.
Okay.
You know, come on, man. You know what I'm
They said
saying?
they
You know,
owned it like they
slanguary. But they pretty much stamped that sound.
That's a good point.
So I started to mess with other producers from across the water and from EPA. Shout out to EPA. You know, Sean T, he has made some of the most classic music that I've ever done. Shout out Sean T, man. You know, a producer that don't get his flowers enough.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I started doing that, and then I started messing with One Drop Scott. You know what that is, right?
Oh yeah, he's been on the podcast.
One
That's my
Drop
boy.
Scott, Tone Capone. You know what I'm saying? 3 Times Crazy. So, and then that's when I started. Agerman and his family. You know what I mean? He actually, you know, he preached at my son's funeral. You know, I appreciate it. But Agerman and his family. So that's when I had, like, you know, and I pretty much had everybody at that particular point in time. Rest in peace, Ballhead Rick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, come on, Taco. Come on, man. Like, I had everybody on there. Anybody that you could think of that was, you know, doing something. At this particular point in time, in the streets, in the game, I'm having it my way. You know what I mean? As far as, like, hustling, I'm having it my way. So at this particular point in time, I'm trying to really just fuck with everybody. Everybody that's doing something. You know.
So you're still moving around in that sense and moving around with the rap too at the same time.
Right. I'm doing everything at the same time.
Was the goal to get something to put it into this so that the music could be could take it to where that's the full time? Exactly.
That's always been the goal. You know what I'm saying? The goal was never to be like the neighborhood baller. The goal was always to be the individual with the label to get ahead and bring niggas with him. So if you notice throughout my career, I've always been, you know what I'm saying, like, come on. So,
but at the same time, then you got some capital to invest with when it comes to beats, studio time,
from the street,
promotion,
street money. You know what I'm saying? We call it cremating the block. That's what me and Mitchie Slick call it. We got a song called Cremate the Block with Trey the Truth. It ain't dropped yet, but I'm just letting you know we got that. And it's called Cremate the Block. And we talking about that, how even under the circumstances of, like, the violence in the hood, you know what I'm saying? Cats going back and forth, bodies dropping. We still out. You got it. How else is you going to get it? What you going to do? Go get a 9 to 5? Like, nah, like, and at that particular point in time, having a 9 to 5, you looked at as a sucker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not true.
No.
Because our big homies taught us have a 9 to 5 to have some type of business to
revenue,
show revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we were getting that money and taking that money and investing it into whatever we was doing, whether it was into putting the Mob Figaz out, whether it was into getting me features, whether it was into getting beats from DJ Darryl, you know, whatever it was that needed to be done. And so just spinning back, if it ain't official, was when I really knew that I had something going. I'm one of the first rap niggas walking around with a big piece on. You know what I'm saying? That shit don't really fascinate me no more too much because I done did it all already. I'm one of the first niggas running around, you know, in the city, rap niggas running around with a Rolex on and big Git Paid chain, you know what I mean? Because we was looking at what the Hot Boys was doing, right? And what Tupac was doing. You know what I mean? Like, at that particular point in time, it's about having the chains. I remember seeing Rich the Factor running around, one of the first cats that I saw with rubies and emeralds and diamonds in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was stuff like that was just motivating in regards to just taking this money from here and putting it in this and investing and pushing it further. But what really let me know is when you're driving around late night in the hood,
and you hear your shit.
And you hear your shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you hear your shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that feeling is something that's, like, unfathomable. Like when it really, 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 really hit me, I'm gonna speed up a little bit, but we come back. When it really, really hit me, I had caught a case on Bishop Corner, and I was fighting this case. It was a aiding and abetting case. They was trying to accuse me of some shit that I didn't have nothing to do with, and but the case was a sting. I had got caught in a sting. The gang task was on some shady shit, and they put some marked money on me. I never even made the sale, but they took my money and put it with the marked money and said that it was, you know what I mean? So speeding up, I beat that case. I come out the court. I come out of 850 Bryant. I make a left. Because you know when you come out of 850, you come down the stairs, right? The bail bonds is across the street.
A little alley, yeah.
Yeah, so I make the left. I come right here. I'm getting ready to walk across the street to the parking lot, right? Remember, you know, the parking lot is behind. Some cats pull up in a mob, a blue mob on gold ones. I don't know who they was or where they was from. They was knocking Bullys Wit Fullys. The first one, with me and Killa Tay. They knocking, and Agerman. They knocking Bullys Wit Fullys. And they mugging me. And I'm looking at them like, these niggas don't even know that's me that they listening to.
Yeah.
But they pull up, they playing the one me and Killa Tay did with the Outlaws. Tupac had died. We did the Outlaws. We recorded it on Tupac's birthday at the studio. We ate the chicken. El Pollo Loco was Tupac's favorite chicken restaurant to eat. So we ate the El Pollo Loco. We recorded it. You know, the song was called Riding for Pop. They pull up, boom, 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 and they like mugging like it. I'm like, okay, but that right there was when I knew I'm like it's a wrap.
Yeah,
I'm finna do this shit full time all the way, and ain't nothing finna stop me. Like no barriers, no red tape, no nothing, because I always been an individual that had to kick in the door for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You have to work very hard to get in that position.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And also, like, you know, the way you're talking about your career going, it's like nobody was giving you a handout.
Nobody was giving me nothing.
Yeah. So you're financing your own shit. You're recording your own shit. You're putting your own shit out on your own label.
Yeah, me and my boy Mike, M1. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so by then you're kind of able to just keep it going with the albums. We talked about Clearing Present Danger.
Yeah, Clearing Present Danger came out. That's you know, I had features on there too.
Yeah.
But that album is produced. Big Web had tracks on there, and then mostly Sean T and Kirk Crumpler.
Yeah. Shout out to Sean T.
Sean T.
Again.
Yeah.
What?
Sean T pretty much been producing for me. Pretty much. After Pure Pressure, Sean T been pretty much producing for me my whole career.
Man, that guy's put in so much work.
He put in hella work.
What gave you the idea to start a duo called Bullys Wit Fullys?
Well, one day I had gotten into a fight on 3rd, and when I knocked the dude out, he got up and he started talking crazy, like gun talk. And I whipped out on him. At this particular time, the homies came and kind of like stalled it out. And the story was so funny. I went to my homeboy, the Buster, rest in peace, 415 from Straight Lace Mob. And I was telling him what happened. Like how, you know how the one cat from Boys in the Hood that used to have the pacifier in his mouth?
Yeah.
How he be like, nigga, I seen all them niggas out there. Nigga, and I just start spraying. Nigga, I had bitches and niggas screaming, running everywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was talking to them like that. Like, yeah, nigga, I'm out there fighting. Nigga, I knocked the nigga out. Boom, he get up. Boom, he started talking about God, whip out. You know, they like, nigga, you a bully with a fully. And that's how the name came like that. And so then I started to think like, I want to be bigger than the city. I'm already doing the solo shit, but I want to be bigger than the city. So I started to think like, I'm going to collab with all of the hottest niggas in the game from different places. So I thought about Killa Tay from AWOL, because at the time Sibo was in jail. You see what I'm saying? So I thought about Killa Tay, which was Mr. Mafioso, was bananas, right? Come on, man. Like that's like, that style that Killa Tay had is unfathomable, and it has never been duplicated. You see what I'm saying? Like, and then Agerman, who family. You know, I'm like, okay, and I'm gonna put them together and we gonna create this group. And that shit was colossal. That shit, when that shit came out, and you know what's crazy about that Bullys Wit Fullys? Not only did I go and get production from, because that's when I went and got DJ Daryl. You know what I'm saying? And DJ Daryl wasn't producing for nobody from the city because the city was funking with Oakland. We'd always be getting into fights at the Palladium with Oakland. Like Oakland come out here, come to the Palladium, or Frisco come out there, somebody, you get caught somewhere out there at East Mountain Mall. Like it was always that beef back then. And no producers was fucking with nobody from Frisco. I think maybe back when Too Short maybe was dealing with Rapping Forte a little bit, but that only lasted for like, you know what I mean? But I'm talking about for my generation of the music. Nobody from Frisco was fucking with producers from Oakland, and no producers from Oakland was fucking with rappers from Frisco. So me and DJ Daryl bridged the gap. We broke barriers. And I blew up in Oakland. I didn't blow up in the city. Ain't that crazy?
I think that's kind of a sign if you're from the city and you get love in the town.
If you get love in the town, go ahead, I'm gonna let you finish.
That's when you know you're doing something.
That's when you know you're doing something. Yeah. Like it's cool, like your hood is always gonna show love to you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
But also because Oakland got their own shit.
It's just different, and it's more chocolate out there.
Yeah, it
right?
is.
We more like diverse.
Diverse, yeah.
But in Oakland, that's Chocolate City.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Remember the club Chocolate City back in the days in Oakland?
That might have been before my time.
We used to go over there and promote. But yeah, man, yeah, I blew up in Oakland, man. I had billboards and benches and AD, Anthony Daughtry. He actually used the equipment that he had from Def Jam to promote the Bullys Wit Fullys.
Damn.
So he had like this big ass like army truck, like I don't know, I forgot what kind of truck it was, and it had like you open up the doors on both sides, and it had like 8 to 10 speakers on each side, and he had the whole thing was wrapped with the Bullys Wit Fullys, and he would just drive around just pounding that shit to the point to where Oakland niggas would come over here to the city and be playing my music, and niggas would be like, who is that? And they'd be like, nigga, this Juice from Hunters Point. You don't know, you know what I mean? And then it just blew up from there. And
so you got you're from San Francisco, you got Agerman from Oakland,
and I got Killa Tay from Fresno.
So that's like a Northern Cali
you
stranglehold right
you're
there.
Bridging you're taking over everything because
Killa Tay was on AWOL, so that's
that's all the Sacramento. Yeah. That's Looney Coleon. Mind you, I'm already doing work with these guys. Me and Sibo got one of the hardest songs on If It Ain't Real, It Ain't Official. We getting blood money, straight up drug money, getting thug. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we, that shit was hard, and it's crazy because when we recorded that song, Sibo was at the top of his game at that time. Like Bo was really having it his way. Drop top Benz, you know. He had cocaine in the studio. He like, Juice, take cocaine to the airport. You know what I'm saying? He threw me some money. Like I'm like, I dropped cocaine off. Me and cocaine having a heart to heart. Me and cocaine been cool ever since. I come back, Sibo doing donuts, you know, because one of our blocks was Hollister, so we down there on Hollister on H Mob. And Kurt Crumpler's studio was in the back of the wash house. I don't know if you remember, it was called Wash House Music. You know what I'm saying? But Kurt Crumpler's studio was in the back of the wash house on Hollister. Sibo on Hollister doing donuts and shit. That's when we did Blood Money. And then I took Sibo up to Harbor Road, introduced them to Boob and everybody up there. You know what I mean? Like I always did that type of shit. Bringing Be Legit to Harbor, taking 3 Times Crazy up there. I took them niggas up there. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was the one who brought them up there because they was doing music with me. Mm. You know what I mean? And Agerman was my family. And then, you know, Boob ended up doing some projects with them after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's always been my thing. I've always wanted to, like, involve my people with whatever lines of communication with the industry that I had. Always open the door for my people.
When I talked about like that Mr. Predictor being like a soundtrack for the vibe That Bullys Wit Fullys was the soundtrack for that. What was that, like 2000 or something like that?
Yeah, 1999, 2000.
That was like a treacherous time, bro. That was like a lot of dudes, like you said, mobbing around in the ill whips and just ready to.
A lot of warring was going on. A lot of bodies dropping. Like, it was a lot of shit happening. It's funny too, because let me give you another jewel. At the time, you know, Master P was big, right? And he had a group called Steady Mobbing, Crook and Bath, right? Bathgate, Crooked and Bathgate. They was moving, and we was moving. It was the Hard Knock Life tour. And after DMX had performed, DMX, shout out, rest in peace, DMX. Man, that dude is something else. And this ain't the first time I've been around him, but DMX came outside the concert to battle rap niggas, right? He was the battle rap niggas. But me and all my homeboys, we so deep. Everybody from Hunts Point, we like deep out there. We got on all black. Steady Mobbing and all them guys from West Oak and Ghost Town, they deep. They got on all black. So my homies and they homies, they getting ready to get into it in San Jose. I come walking through the crowd, Bathgate come walking through the crowd. We see each other. Nigga, what's up, boy? We hug each other. Everybody else starts slapping fire. But that's how we was moving with that Bullys Wit Fullys movement.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because of what was going on, at the time, you had to move like that.
Right.
Because it was serious out there, somebody would knock your noodle off.
Yeah, you can't really just be walking around by yourself.
Hell no. Like, it was, if you was outside, you had to be moving a certain way.
Yeah.
If you wasn't moving that way, then, you know, cancel Christmas.
Well, if we're gonna jump around a little bit,
go ahead.
Another important thing that needs to be discussed is that you actually put out the first Mob Figaz album.
Right, we did.
Okay, so
you don't have a problem with me mentioning any other podcasts or just
Nah, hell no.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just, you know.
It's all love.
But yeah, Bo confirmed that on No Vultures.
Yeah, shout out to Lord Rad. That's my
yeah,
guy.
Lord Rad, that's my people. Yeah. Shout out Rad. Rad, what's up, man? I'm out here, man. What's happening? I'm moving around. But Bo confirmed that.
So
how
did that come? I know you talked about it on No Vultures, but just so we can get the timeline going.
How did that come about? Bo talking to Mike. Mike had the money. Mike didn't really know too much about the business. He didn't even really know Bo like that. I knew Bo. Chevelle Pope, Sean Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Like, the history. We had Kim Collette. So basically, AWOL Records became Get Paid. Like, Kim Collette and that whole team that was promoting AWOL Records, they came to work for Get Paid. We had the office out in San Bruno, and we actually had the first office that Guce had on Potrero. You know what I'm saying? Guce moved in there after we moved to San Bruno. I mean, it's years later. It's not like right after, but you know, that same office that Guce and Nima had over there on Potrero was the office that we had first. And so Kim Collette and all of them, and Shadow Promotion, shout out Shadow. Everybody worked for us. I knew Bo. And so it made sense. Bo went to jail. So I had to pick up the slack.
So he was knowing that he was going to sit down for a while, so he basically...
Well, he went to jail. He didn't even know what was going on.
He didn't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we had to make sure that Mike held up his end as far as whatever the business decision was. And so that's when I had to, like, you know, travel and do things and meet up with Big Pep. But the Mob Figaz, them all my baby bros, man. Rest in peace, Jacka. But there's nothing that I would say about them that they would contest to. Not Hustler, not FedEx, not Ryder J. Clyde. You know what I mean? Like, they were in Hunters Point. The Mob Figaz was in Hunters Point on Bishop Corner, outside with us.
It didn't make no sense to have a hole around me, but couldn't tear it off and have my niggas clown me. Ho, on the block, nigga, what?
Locked up on the slugs, leaving these niggas wet as fuck.
Mob Figaz, Juice, Git Paid Entertainment. You understand me? We in the house. We shooting some live footage out here in Hunters Point, California.
You can't mention the Mob Figaz without mentioning Hunters Point. People can try to do and say what they want to say today, AP9. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to have these guys at Race Studio on 3rd. I used to be driving out there and picking them up and bringing them to the city and having them recording. You know what I'm saying? We had to finish the Mob Figaz album and put that album out. In fact, the proceeds from the Bullys Wit Fullys project paid for the Mob Figaz album to come out.
Wow. Okay,
Instead of me putting the money in my pocket,
yeah,
we took it and put it into the Mob Figaz.
And that sold really well too, right?
That was how it always went. From Pure Pressure, the money from Pure Pressure went into If It Ain't Real Official. Money from If It Ain't Real Official went into Clear and Present Danger. Clear and Present Danger went into Bullys Wit Fullys. Bullys Wit Fullys went into Mob Figaz. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a cycle that we kept repeating.
Yeah.
But them as my bros, they was with me in Hunters Point. On Bishop Corner.
I suppose I could ask Huss about this too, but wasn't he on the run out here too? Was it?
Who, Huss?
Yeah.
Yeah, Huss was on the run. He'll tell you a story how he was listening to my music while he was running from the police. You know what I'm saying? Out there in El Pueblo, Bishop, man, out there in them projects, man, I was out there with them dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll tell you. And then it's just like, it's too much footage. Like,
yeah. It's
just too much.
Yeah.
We got so much stuff, and they was babies. Like, everybody know Jacka, and they like the relationships that he built as he became the solo artist, right? But y'all wasn't around when them babies was outside with us when they looked like 13 and 14, smooth skin, like young cats outside. Mm-hmm. And we got the footage to prove that, to show that they were outside in Hunters Point on Bishop Corner. Period.
Hell yeah.
And that's how that whole situation came about, as far as like, us sitting down. I was all for it. The project was sounding crazy. Bo discovered them. Mm-hmm. He already talked about the whole story of how that went down. But once he went to jail, I had to pick up the slack. And that was one of the greatest group albums to ever come out of the Bay Area. Hands down. I don't give a fuck what nobody got to say. You couldn't fuck with the Mob Figaz. And all of them dudes had bars.
Facts.
Every last one of them.
Facts. Okay, and then so from there, Bullys Wit Fullys became a duo.
Well,
the second album was just you and Killa Tay.
It's just me and Killa Tay, because I wanted to keep it going. And me and Killa Tay had a relationship. And so we came out with the Bullys Wit Fullys. Then we came out with Bullys Wit Fullys. So we came out with Bullys Wit Fullys, West Side Stories, Bullys Wit Fullys, Gangster Without the Rap, and then Bullys Wit Fullys 2.5, right? Hardball. And then from there, I went to go deal with Mess.
So Agerman
turned gospel.
Went gospel.
And so just me spiritually and me talking to Cuddy, he tried his best that he could to stick in there in the first project. But after that, he was pretty much just all the way gospel. He was
became
preaching.
A pastor.
Yeah, it just really didn't make sense at that time to just keep him a part of the situation.
So by then, like after all those albums, like you said, with you and Killa Tay, like Bullys Wit Fullys became like a brand.
Well, it was my brand. It's a Hunters Point brand. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't belong to any other artist who I do the collaboration with. It's just who I choose to do the collaboration with. They become, at one point in time, it became to where if you did the Bullys Wit Fullys, you were stamped in the Bay Area as one of the greats. You know what I'm saying? If I picked you to do a collab with you, you became one of the greats. I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
So it was never like a group between you and Killa Tay.
No, it was just
it was working for the time.
I mean, people can take it how they want to take it and say like, oh, these guys was a group or whatever the case may be. No, Killa Tay was always a solo artist, and he was always a dope solo artist. Mr. Mafioso. You know what I'm saying? So
the next person you picked to be part of the Bullys Wit Fullys brand was Messy Marv.
I didn't pick Mess.
Okay. I think I know. Fill in the blank.
Well, because at the time...
He was recommended to you.
Yeah, he was recommended. Yeah. Like, because at the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, Hunters Point Filmo, it was beef going on. And I even got pushback from that. Like, it's some cats that, did some time for funking with Philmo that didn't agree with, Hunters Point, Philmo doing music together. And I'm not talking about what happened when RBL squashed the beef with JT and them back in the day. I was going to
get to that.
I'm not talking about that. Because
that's crazy, because that was squashed, but then by...
But this is a different generation now. This is something else going on. So it's not even about that particular situation, because that was an historical moment too. Right. I don't want to take nothing from that. But I'm saying at this particular point in time, I'm outside. And so Uncle Creature Man, T-Fats, my cousin Brad B Bentley, and Ghazi, right? Because the Bullys Wit Fullys was recorded in Ghazi's studio. You know what I mean? Like, most of everything I was recording in Ghazi. Like, a lot of people don't know Ghazi was a beat maker and an engineer. Like, they just don't know.
He rapped
and he rapped. Yeah, he's featured. I'm probably one of the only ones that got a feature from Ghazi.
Yeah, he's dope at all of them.
He's dope. He did a few hooks on my controversial album. But anyway, back to the Bullys Wit Fullys. So I was sitting in the studio, and they was just constantly, they kept saying, this will be a good look for you. And I was just kind of like, because I'm outside, I'm in the streets. And at this particular point in time, I'm starting to get this ideal, like, if I don't see a nigga outside, like, on when I'm on, I don't really want to do music with you. So you'll notice at a certain point in time, I stopped doing music with certain niggas because niggas is lying. You see what I'm saying? So if I stop doing music with certain individuals, that's because you niggas ain't really outside doing what you saying you're doing, because we outside. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And just to drop a jewel on that before I finish with the story with the Bullys Wit Fullys, you can ask Chuck from Street Cred. You know what I mean? Like, we actually did a project together. Done Deal, Get Paid. All of the Street Cred artists, all of the Get Paid artists, we did a mixtape together. The shit was fire. Big Rich, your boy, which they call Rich Rocker, like everybody, like Bailey, everybody was on the project. And at that particular point in time, I needed management. And me and Chuck, my phone on the charger, I'll call him right now while we on the podcast. Chuck will tell you, I wanted Chuck to do management for me, but he couldn't do management for me. Chuck told me, I can't do management for you. And I said, why? He said, you know why. You know what I mean? And it's because of the lifestyle I was living in the streets. It wasn't a good look for him. You know what I mean? But he stayed, he loved me, he family, and he always opened the door for me and made sure that if I need any information or anything, he always there for me. We did parties together and we did all that. But as far as him just taking on the weight of whatever came with me, it didn't fit with what Chuck from Street Cred had going on. So we couldn't take it no further than that. And that's okay. I understood that. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Creature Man, T-Fats, he in the pen right now fighting double life. That's one of my homeboys from Hunters Point, for any nigga that want to get on the podcast and say they don't know where I'm from. They talked us into doing it, and I'm glad I did it. Because when me and Mess came together and did that project, that shit hit the Bay Area like a tsunami.
Yes, it did.
Man, let me tell you something. And you know what's funny? Because now that I bring that up and I think about it, because Ghazi actually mixed So Hood. Shout out to Toy Shop, who produced Orange Juice and the Blunt for Breakfast too, because that's one of our biggest songs too as well. But So Hood. So I wanted to meet Big Von. You don't mind me? I wanted to meet Big Von. And I always wanted to know, because at this particular time, it's a different generation now. I already told you about Sway and all that, right? So it wasn't like I hadn't been on the radio before. I even had a song for Street Soldiers that stayed on there for years. It came on, right? But Big Von, you know, it's hard to get that guy to like a record. You know what I mean? It's hard to get that guy to like a record. But at the time, he was playing a lot of stuff, the Team and different things like that, the Federation and stuff like that. And I wanted to know how to get on the radio. So Chuck introduced me to Big Von. So now I got a pass to go into KMEL because Big Von took a liking to me, and Rick Lee and everybody that's in there. Shout out Gary Archer, you know, his brother.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Jazzy Jim.
Yeah, yeah. Over there on that side of the radio station, took a liking to me. Everybody taking a liking to me. Why? Because they see my determination and my ambition, and I'm coming in there and I'm being respectful, even though they hear shit about me in the streets. A lot of the shit that I did in the streets and the lifestyle that I was living closed a lot of doors for me. A lot of people didn't want to fuck with me because it was real, right? So, boom, I'm sitting in there one day because I would actually go up there and I would play pool and we would all be up there shooting the shit up there at KMEL. So I'm sitting there one day and EA Ski walk in, and then I started to meet EA Ski. I didn't know him then. You know, everybody knows each other that's doing things from the Bay Area, but doesn't necessarily mean that they know each other. So boom, that day, I'm talking to Chuck, and I'm like, what you got going on for the weekend? Because, you know, everybody would always want to go to each other's event to promote.
Right.
So I'm talking to Chuck, and Chuck is like, well, I'm finna throw E40's birthday party. I don't know if you remember the club around the corner that used to be right there on 7th and 4th. I think it was called, was it 7th and Folsom?
There's 6 and Folsom, 10-15 Folsom.
It's a one-way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the club was on this side of the street. It was a little club. It was right there. Mm. But anyway, Chuck threw the party. It was E40 birthday party. So I'm talking to E40. We sitting at the bar. We having a drink. And I'm like, Uncle Earl, how the fuck do I get on the radio? How am I going to get on the radio? Because Hunters Point niggas always had a hard time getting on the radio.
Yeah.
Not to be throwing a shot at anybody from any other turf or whatever, but when it came to Hunters Point, we had a hard time getting on the radio. Why? Street shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the proof is in the pudding. So E40 say, listen. And I'm like, what am I listening to? He like, be quiet, listen. And I'm listening to My Goodies by Sierra. Doom, 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 my goodies, doom, my goodies. Right? Now, EA Ski say, I'm speeding up now. I see EA Ski, I'm at KMEL. The reason why EA Ski is feeling me, he's saying, I see what you're doing. I see your rap beat, because I'm putting my own money into it. I'm in the street, I'm putting my own money into it. I got expeditions, navigators, vans, all kind of shit running around the Bay Area, wrapped up with other projects on it that I'm pushing. So EA Ski like, I like what you're doing. Meet me at the Buttercup in Oakland, and I'm going to play some beats for you. So when he meet me at the Buttercup in Oakland, he play a few beats for me. When I hear So Hood, doom, 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 I'm thinking about the conversation with me and E40. And if you think about So Hood and you think about My Goodies, they both come on the same way. Boom, 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 right? So Hood, so I picked that beat. And then I hit Clyde Carson. Because at this time, the team is the hottest shit in the Bay. They hot.
Yeah.
Him and Cash Kaiser, they hot. Let's keep it a bean, right? So I hit up Clyde Carson. Shout out to Clyde Carson. Solid nigga. Solid. Always been a good dude.
Yeah, that's my guy. Shout out Clyde.
Always been a good dude. You know what I'm saying? I hit up Clyde Carson. I'm like, man, I want you to jump on this song and do the hook. He like, all right, shoot it to me. I sent him the beat. Clyde Carson go. He called me. He sent it back to me. Well, he don't send the beat back, but he called me. He say, nigga, ain't no lyrics on there. Put the lyrics on there first. And then we, you know. So boom, we at Ghazi's and we record, me and Mess, we record Orange Juice and a Blunt for Breakfast. So if you listen to Orange Juice and a Blunt for Breakfast, me and Mess is going back and forth. Mm-hmm. So boom, that back and forth goes into the So Hood track. So we knock out So Hood. I shoot the song to Clyde Carson. Clyde Carson put the hook on it. Not less than 24 hours, he sent it back to me. Boom. I sent it to Ghazi. Ghazi's staying over in the Avenues right now. He got the studio and everything over in the Avenues. He pressing up CDs and everything right out the house. So Ghazi like, I'm finna mix this shit. And this is when I understood the magnitude of what Dr. Dre does.
Yeah.
Because Ghazi didn't just do what most engineers do. They just mix your shit in 2-3 hours and then give you a song. Guce took his time on So Hood. That's why the fuck it sound the way it sound.
Wow.
And then so once Guce finished mixing it, like, you know, a few days later I got it back. I called Mess. At this time, Mess is living in Oakland Hills. So I called Mess. And I said, what you doing? He said, I ain't doing nothing. Nigga, what's up? I'm like, I'm finna send you this song. Listen to it. So I emailed it to him. Like 5 minutes later, he called me back laughing. Oh, he like, blood, you ugly. He like, you ugly. Because that's what we call, like we say you ugly, like when you do some things like this. He like, you hella ugly, Juice, you ugly. I said, what? What happened? He said, nigga, we got one. He said, Juice, we got one. And he kept playing it over and over and over. He said, you hella ugly, blood, we got one. And motherfucking Soul Hood blew up.
Yes, it did. Classic song, bro. Classic song. That's my era too. Drive around bumping that shit.
Right.
Videos hella clean. This is like kind of hyphy era, but like Frisco wasn't really part of the hyphy era.
Nah, we was gangsta hyphy.
He was gangsta hyphy.
Because hyphy was really about gangsta shit.
It was about busting somebody's head.
It was about busting somebody's head. Them niggas just did some hyphy shit.
Yeah.
Like, them niggas is, they on some, like, that's what hyphy was. Shout out to Fab and them for turning it around, taking a negative and turning it into a positive, right?
Yeah.
I get it. But at the end of the day, like, everybody that was doing the hyphy stuff, like, I can't be the Federation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not my style. I'm not saying I can't do music with them, but I'm saying, like, what they were doing and what they were pushing out, and everybody that was a part of the hyphy movement. Me and Mess was a part of the hyphy movement, but we were from a gangster perspective, because my whole thing was I want to be able to put out some music that we can jump out in New York and they gonna fuck with it. Yeah. And they fucked with it. Styles P fucked with it. The girl that's on the front cover is from Staten Island, Remy Red. You know what I'm saying? She a blood, you know, she's from the East Coast. We had her on the front cover, flew her out here. They was fucking with that. They fucked with it down south. They fucked with it in Hawaii. Like, that was my whole thing of, you know, separating myself from hyphy, to where a person wouldn't just be like, oh, they didn't want to listen to our music because they thought that they was gonna be hearing some shit that they felt was corny.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking of something this popped in my head.
What's up?
You had a poster for that album that said "Unidos nos quedamos" with the Mexican flag on it.
Yeah.
United we stand in Spanish. Whose idea was that? Your idea?
Well, it was my idea because of where I come from. I come from the Bay Area. We fuck with the Mission District. Wow. I got homeboys from the Mission District. You know what I'm saying? You know, and they actually did a mural for me and Mess on 24th in Mission. It's still there to this day.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, and it was a Cinco de Mayo. And so we were showing love by promoting around that time, because the Latinos, they fucked with Juice and Messy Marv.
Very smart, bro.
Right?
I wish I still had that poster.
Yeah, it was marketing. Like, it was marketing, clean. Bro. It was marketing. And
okay.
It was, you know.
I got to ask a couple more follow-ups. One, did that actually squash the beef between the two neighborhoods?
Yeah.
Or did it help?
Yeah, it did. Because I mean, you saw the Bars Awards, right?
Yeah.
Was you there?
No, I wasn't there.
But you saw it,
I
right?
talked to Mess about it, and I saw
but
it. I heard about it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I can definitely get you some footage of it.
Yeah.
If you need it.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it definitely did that. I mean, and when you see the Bars Awards and you see us performing Soul Hood, you got niggas from Fillmore up there on stage. You got niggas from Hunters Point. You got niggas from Oakland. You got niggas from Sacramento, Fresno, Vallejo. Like, the Bullys Wit Fullys movement was something. It was my movement, right? And Mess will tell you to this day, nah, Bullys Wit Fullys ain't mine. I was just, you know, part of the project. You know what I mean? So people have to understand that too. Because the album was so good, they automatically put me and Mess in a group. Because the album was so good, they automatically put me and Killa Tay in the group. It wasn't a group thing.
Were you and I know that you said it was like recommended, but were you and Mess cool before, or did you really know each other?
I didn't even know who Mess. I never had met Mess before in my life. I promise you. Before we did the Bullys Wit Fullys, I didn't know Mess. Creature Man could contest to that. Shit, T-Fast can call home from the pen and contest to that. You know what I'm saying? Niggas from the street can contest to the fact that I had never did no music with Mess. I never shook his hand. I never met him. But when they brought us together.
When you connected, the chemistry.
A Filmo nigga and a Hunters Point nigga brought me and Mess together.
And the chemistry was real. Once
and not
started.
To mention Larry June's pops was constantly, you know, like, this will be a good look. This will be a good look. Shout out, you know, Larry June's pops. Like, it's like, this will be a good look. Like, do this shit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, second follow-up question. Gotta go back to the elephant in the room.
What up?
The red elephant in the room. As I mentioned on the previous podcast, that when we saw that cover, because I'm hearing your story, but this was just outside looking in. We see two dudes from Frisco with red rags on the cover.
I didn't have a red rag on.
Okay, you had red outfit on, I believe.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with wearing red, is it?
Certainly not.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. Is it against the law to wear red?
But Messy Marv had a red rag, and I believe he had, you know, certain gestures, hand gestures being. It was just different.
Okay, Dregs One. All right. Because this is going to be the last and final time.
But you know I have to ask. You know I have to ask about it,
because this is for the don't knows.
Okay.
That chopper was mine. That Mess was holding. Mess put that rag around the chopper because he didn't want his fingerprints on it because we was in the streets. That's the truth. Mess didn't intentionally put that rag on the cover to be like, I'm a blood. And it wasn't until we did the music that when I heard him say Sue Whoop, that I was like, oh, you a blood? Like, well, shit, nigga, I'm already affiliated with that. And so it was like, okay, well, I'm going to run with it. I never questioned the fact whether he was certified or not. I never questioned the fact who put him on or none of that. Because if this is what you doing, then this is what it is. It's not like the Bullys Wit Fullys is like a blood project. But here's the thing that I need people to understand. Stop making it seem like you got an issue with Bloods. Because outside of the Bay Area, any other state you go to, niggas, Bloods and Crips. And if you niggas keep talking like how y'all talking, you're going to run into some problems. Because there's nothing but gangbangers all over the world, especially Bloods and Crips. You see what I'm saying? But moving on, it's like Mess didn't want to put his hands on that chopper. And so if you notice, he's holding it, but his hands, the rag is wrapped around where he's holding it. And that's why that was on the cover like that.
Very
Shemp took the picture. Yeah. Shemp could contest to that. Evan can contest to that.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing because it was like, oh, well, we can Photoshop some shit into it, right? Mess, you could hold the broom. I'm like, nigga, fuck that. Nigga, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The homie run to the car, grab the chop, you know what I'm saying? Like, make sure it's not loaded. Take these pictures. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how that particular situation came into fold. But what I do want to say is this. People keep making it seem like they got a problem with Mess being a blood, but yet he performed at the Bars Awards with his red rag, and all of his homies was with him. So who can say that they got the right to check this man about being whatever the fuck he want to be? Like, this is listen, bro. Like, at the end of the day, this is a grown-ass man that's deciding to do something. If he decide to go fuck a bitch, that's his business. If he decide to pull his pants down and shit in the middle of the street, that's his business. So if this nigga want to be a blood, that's his motherfucking business. And if his homeboys is moving with him, which we seen at the Bars Awards, they wasn't tripping. How in the fuck is somebody else gonna say that Mess need to explain himself to them in regards to what he want to bang? That's his business, Dregs. Like, period. I don't care what no other nigga gotta say.
No,
say what you want to say.
That's a good point, because that's pretty much, when I talked to him about it, that's pretty much what he said.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like in regards to that, I'm not talking about none of the shit that Meston did to offend anybody else or whatever other issues that he got going on in the streets, because I wasn't here. I was in the penitentiary fighting for my freedom about attempted murder case. You know what I mean? 7 years I was gone, and I gave them people back 14 years, and I ain't tell on nobody. I stood on business, and I fought that shit. But I'm saying, at the end of the day, I'm just speaking to the fact of what this man chooses to be. If that's what he chooses to be, that's his business. Any other nigga getting in their feelings about emotion, any other nigga acting emotional about what Mess did in regards to that, nigga, then you need to get something right with your life or something that's going on within you. Because I know if I'm getting money, I'm not worried about what the fuck the next nigga doing or what he claiming or banging.
Well, either way, I think whatever it was, that album cover is hard as fuck.
Appreciate that.
Artwork is dope.
We got that from Ice-T.
Yeah, the reverse shot.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Shemp did his thing with that.
Shemp, shout out to Photo Doctor Graphics, man.
Classic album. Y'all made a great pair, and we was all knocking that shit regardless here in the city.
Yeah, but yeah, this Frisco, it wasn't. This blood gang, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, nigga, we represent. Listen, Mess is a Frisco. I'm a Frisco nigga.
Yeah.
Can't no nigga take that from me. Where I'm from is where I'm from. Pure point blank. That is some Frisco shit. Pure point blank. It's about Frisco. It ain't about nothing else.
I love it.
You see what I'm saying? And that's just what it is at the end of the day. It's Frisco.
Well, from there, like I feel like your shit was turned up. Cause man, another sick cover, bro, is that one with the cigar with the newspapers behind you and shit.
That was controversial. That was just
no, that wasn't hardball. What was that called? Controversial.
That was controversial, and I had the gold teeth with the diamonds in my mouth. All the shit the young niggas do today. Like, I did it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. With the chain, with the microphone, the diamonds, and all the shit. Those news articles and things of that nature were just me showing, in my hood, basically what we were going through and how real it was. This is me. This is where I'm from. And this is what's going on in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? In regards to the gang war that was going on in Hunters Point. That's what that was. Those was real news clippings about the gang activity in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it was a treacherous time period.
Definitely was.
Boy, the Bullys Wit Fullys brand has gone on. I feel like it's just gonna go on forever.
It's bigger than me.
So what was the next? But so I'm trying to keep a timeline going because you done so much projects, bro.
The next one I did was with Jacka.
That was Bullys Wit Fullys too. With the Jacka.
That was a Bullys Wit Fullys, yeah. And then I did one with Philthy Rich.
Mm-hmm.
And then, damn, rest in peace, Jacka. I'm glad I was able to do that with him because he always wanted to do it because he told me when he was in the studio, he was like, nigga, I'm hot. Nigga, it's my turn now. You know what I'm saying? And that's little bro, like, and we recorded that project in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we recorded that whole project in Seattle. We did the photo shoot in Seattle. We recorded it, whose studio was that again? That's Vitamin D. We recorded that at Vitamin D studio.
Seattle legend.
Yeah. And I was glad that I was able to get that project done with him, but we didn't get to promote it the way it needed to be promoted because, of course, that tragedy that took place. I miss you, Jack. Yeah. I've been knowing that boy since he was 14, 15 years old.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
rest in peace, Jacka, bro.
To watch it just, to watch it transpire like that and to be able to just get my hands around him and get that project done. Yeah. We didn't get to promote it. We didn't get to shoot no videos or nothing. It's like he was in Seattle, and then as soon as he went back to the Bay, he was gone. That's crazy, bro. That reminded me of like Mac Dre.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Dre wanted to sign me. And Mac Dre, we was at City Hall Records. And Mac Dre and Ryder J. Clyde was in there. They was talking business with Walter. And this was when I had What It Do was on the radio. Rick Lee was one of my personal DJs.
Shout out to Rick Lee.
And shout out to Network too.
Shout out to Network.
Had played a big part in just showing me how to, and Gary Archer, showing me how to get things going as far as like with the whole DJ scene and the parties and things of that nature. But we was in there, and I came in there, and Mac Dre looked at me, and he was like, "You don't gotta do that. You don't gotta do the collabs no more." He like, "You there now, lyrically, like you there. I wanna sign you to Thiz," and Roddy J. Clark could contest to this. And I was gonna sign to Thiz because to me, like it's just funny because Mac Dre I always looked up at Mac Dre because Mac Dre would always come to Hollister and fuck with us, right? By himself, like he was good in the hood. He would come, like they would always have these shows at Candlestick Park, and then after the shows were over, Mac Dre would pull up in whatever car he had, whether it was a Cougar, Mustang, whatever it was, he would pull up, beat playing, doors open. We'd be right there on the corner, me, the twins, Mel, Tree Stump, everybody, like we all outside, you know. And Mac Dre would be out there with us. You know what I mean? So it was that part, that part of the relationship that nobody really know nothing about, you know? And so I you know, just shout out to Thiz, like to Jay Diggs, to Kilo Kurt, to Big Dot, you know, all of them guys over there, like, they always showed me nothing but major love and always rolled out the red carpet for me. And so I was gonna sign with Thiz, and then Mac Dre left the Bay.
I heard that he was like trying to get people from every part of the Bay Area.
He was putting together something that was gonna be like very colossal, and I was so enthused about doing it. Like, you know, I got one song with him called Trouble with me, him, and Ryder. You know, Kilo Kurt. You know, I actually got to go over there and do the Thiz project. What else? You know, Jay Diggs, he let me get on the on the tour with him when they had the tour bus. That's funny. That's when I met Blue Da Vinci through Jay Diggs too, the BMF shit. And I was able to do that. I did a lot of music with Jay Diggs too, a lot of songs. Just putting in that work and just doing what I'm grateful to be a part of what they kept going in the name of Dre.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And rest in peace, Dre. Rest in peace, Jacka. Rest in peace, bro.
100%.
We still on point, right?
It's a conversation,
bro.
Yeah. There's so many jewels. Hey, Trev, how long are we going for? Okay, yeah, let's keep it going.
What we in here for?
When we feel.
I'm here for you, bro.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
I flew out here. I flew out here for you.
I'm chilling, bro. I appreciate it, man. Another album we should talk about too is the one with Stalin.
Yeah. Giants and Elephants.
Yes.
Classic. Another classic. I knew Jay Stalin when he was, 14, 15 years old. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I met Jay Stalin through DJ Durrell.
Okay.
10th Street, West Oakland, Cypress Village. Yeah, he was in there. He was young, and he had jumped on my project. I remember it like yesterday. I'm a gangster. He's a gangster. She's a gangster. We some gangsters. Wouldn't you like to be a gangster too? That's the first shit Stalin did, for a hook for me on some shit I was working on at DJ Durrell house. And when I met Stalin, he was just in there. He was young. He was just writing, and he was just hungry. He's still hungry to this day. And I used to always run into him. But again, Stalin is another individual that was in the streets. Life be lifing. Every time I ran into Stalin, he had a sack on him and he was hustling on the corner. Stalin, what you doing? I'm out here getting it. Well, I wanted to do something to bring Frisco and Oakland to keep that, keep it going with the side shows and everything that was going on. So I went and got Stalin. And I knew Stalin was gonna be what he was gonna be. I always believed in him. I knew he was gonna be the next big thing. And so we did that project, and that project that blew Stalin up. We went on tour with that. We put everybody from the Bay on the tour who was doing music, from everybody. Shout out Dame Fame. He was a part of because he was, he did a lot of touring with Dame Fame did a lot of touring with Keek the Sneak, and I learned how to tour with Tech Nine and Big Rockamon. Shout out Rockamon from Black Market, and we put our heads together and we figured out that, and this is the game. When you hot, book the venues yourself, hire the promoters yourself.
Yep.
There's more money to be made.
Get that back.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what Tech Nine taught me.
Yep.
And I was like actually on a tour bus. It's funny because Tech Nine's bodyguard, he a blood from L.A. And him and 40 was on the bus and they was telling 40, you don't know Juice. And 40 called me on the phone. He like, man, tell these niggas you know what I'm saying? But it was just a learning experience on how Tech Nine sat me down on the back of the tour bus and he was just explaining to me, it doesn't matter if 100 people show up or 50 people show up. When you go the first time, it's gonna be 50. When you come back, it's gonna be 500. When you come back, it's gonna be 5,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we took that game and put our heads together, and we figured out what everybody wanted, right? All of the rappers that we added to the tour, we figured out what everybody wanted to be paid, and then we offered that amount to the people who wanted to buy the show. You see what I'm saying? And then we would do it all in, meaning that we would book our own rooms and we would pay for our own travel, right? Which would create a little bit more capital for us because we was on the road.
Right.
Right? And so Giants and Elephants took off like that and it blew up. And it was a dope ass project.
What year was that? I was like,
Giants and Elephants was 2012.
okay, so
between
by
2010 and
then
2012.
You're on veteran status.
I'm actually on like super like I'm actually like I'm like the go-to guy, like,
Yeah.
I got Larry June around me. I'm over here dealing with Mozzy. I got Philthy Rich around me. There's like everybody that became something, like I was in there somewhere.
I was gonna ask about that too, because there was a point where Git Paid, you had like a new wave of artists, right? One of them was Killa Keise.
Killa Keise. I was pushing Killa Keise. I was pushing Larry June. I was pushing Young Nas. I was pushing an artist by the name of Miss Cashley out of Sacramento. I was pushing the Orangutan Gang from Richmond. I was pushing Peanut from Richmond. And I was pushing Danny from Sobrani, who, ended up going to prison. And who else was I pushing? Yeah, that was all I was pushing from that particular point in time, and then Mozzy and Stacks. So what I did was I put out this project called Stand Up Guys. Initially, with the new wave, because I was looking for an artist from Sac to put on, and my homeboy LV, he kept saying, shout out Dave, he kept saying, you gotta fuck with Mozzy. At the time he was Tim, but the Mozzy was still, it was being created. So I was coming from Frisco, and I was on the freeway. I was talking to Dave, and I'm like, okay, bring him through. And when I came into the studio, that's when I fell in love, like, with Mozzy's creativity, because when I came into the studio, his head was down with the pen and the pad, and he was writing. And I put him on Gangsta and Gentleman. That was the first song I put him on, and then I put him on some other projects. And then we was gonna do a project with me, him, Stacks, and Snubs. And it was gonna be called the California Westies. And we took the photo shoot over there off of 35th somewhere, I think, in Oak Park. We did the photo shoot. Jay and Tail came over there, took the pictures there. First we went to the mall and we did our little shopping and everything, and then we went and did the photo shoot, and then everybody went to jail. Snubs went first. His time was already set, so he wasn't gonna get out. So then it was just Mozzy and Stacks. So then I took Mozzy, Stacks, Peanut, Larry June, and Danny from Sobrani, and I put them all on this project called Stand Up Guys. You know what I'm saying? To push it. And then Stax went to jail, right? Because I did a video with Larry June, and I was talking about free Mozzy and Stax, because Mozzy went to jail too. So the situation was never able to
go all the way to.
Nah, it wasn't able to manifest like like I wanted it to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so that was a part of the new wave. But I'm still grateful for even having the blessing to even be involved in their lives, because all them guys blew up.
Yeah, so you mentioned Larry's pops. You knew Larry's pops.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's family.
Is that how you got introduced to Larry Jr.?
To little Larry? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he came out here from Atlanta, and like immediately I just saw like he was already dope when he was young. When Larry was a kid, like he was already writing, making hooks, doing his own shit. Like he was already that. You know what I mean? And then like his pops just trusted me with him. I took Larry everywhere. Out of state with me, on the road with me, all the shows. He was hustling with me and his pops. Selling Bullys Wit Fullys CDs out the trunk, Mobility CDs out the trunk. Like a lot of the game and the hustle that is at a magnitude that it is with Larry, it came with him being around me and his pops, and the hustling that we was doing and the music that we was putting out. And so, and Larry can contest to this. With Gazi was always trying to make me record myself, like put my own shit. But I always liked the traditional shit. I want to go in the studio and make Gazi record me. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't really want to do it myself. But the equipment and everything, I left it at Larry's pop's house. And so Larry went in there and started fucking with it. And voila, look what you have today.
Wow.
You can see what I'm saying? Like, and all of the shit in regards to the merch. You know, he saw me with the Bullys Wit Fullys merch. You know what I mean? Like, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm throwing out all these names. It's a long list. And it's crazy, bro, because, you know, you impacted a lot of people's careers, dude.
Well, I believed in a lot of them. Like, even with Phil, with Philthy, you know? When you look at the Bars Awards and you see me on stage performing, who you see standing next to me?
Yes, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
Young Phil.
Yeah.
Always had the chain, always had the swag, but that was young Phil.
Yeah.
Philthy Rich official page, man, you feel me? Hitting, spin, live wire, all in the dog. I'm up here with Juice, get paid, man. You feel me? I'm getting money, man.
And he'll tell you to this day, I ain't never been the best rapper, but I always out-hustled. Like, and I always saw that with him. He always had the ambition. I was over there in the hood with him. You know what I'm saying? Back then, when he was just coming out, just starting, you know, Killa Keise got music with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, rest in peace, Killa Keise. Like, if Killa Keise was here today, Killa Keise would be one of the biggest motherfuckers coming out of Frisco. I promise you, hands down.
I agree.
His work ethic was impeccable, and his bars was bananas.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? And, you know, they stole Killa Keise. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just, you know, my eye and my ear and the spiritual connection that I have for these individuals that I know are like the next ones to blow. You know what I mean? And like I said again, at the end of the day, I'm just grateful to be able to be a part of these individuals and their stepping stones in becoming what they became today.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man.
And it's facts.
Yeah, that part.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
yeah, nah. That's what this platform's for, man. Like I was saying before we started rolling, it's like I want to just make sure all this shit gets documented. I know you've spoken on it in other interviews, but you know, let's just put it all together so people can figure this shit out.
Well, I want everybody to understand, like, in no way am I trying to take away none of the creativity or the hustle and the ambition that these individuals got.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that at a point in time in my career when I was at the level that I was at, and if I saw what I saw, I fucked with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I fucked with it and I believed in it. Like, even Stalin, like, he'll tell you to this day, like, he found out about Mozzy through me. You know what I'm saying? Phil found out about like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the whole lot, like all of, like a lot of this stuff, like, it's like being a connector, right?
Mm-hmm.
Connecting the dots. And it's just an amazing thing to be able to sit back, because I went to the penitentiary and it's a lot happened in 7 years, because when I came home, these dudes is all megastars now.
Yeah, so what year did you catch that case?
2014.
Okay. Do you want to explain what happened?
Well, I don't really got to get all deep into detail. I mean, it's case law, so they can look it up online. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not one of those individuals that got to talk about a situation and you never be able to see no documents in regard to what it is. Basically, in Seattle, shout out to all my folks out there, from the CD, from the South End, from West Seattle, from High Point, from Tacoma, Tukwila, the Highway. Shout out to everybody out there, Federal Way, all of that. An individual decided he wanted to play with me behind a relationship that I got in with somebody. I don't even know this individual. You know what I mean? And he came for me. And it was either me or him. Right? You know how this shit go when you're a player out there, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, haters can be dangerous.
Haters is very dangerous.
Yeah.
And so it was either me or him, and I had to do what I needed to do. Unfortunately, this individual decided that things didn't go the way that he wanted it to go, so he decided to take it to another level. And he told on me. Now, if you want to get the full story, then me and you could fly to Seattle and I'll walk you through the whole scene. You think you'd be interested in doing that?
Possibly.
We'll
But
go to Seattle and we break down the whole...
we got to do more than just that if we go out there together. But yeah.
Yeah,
do
no, for sure. You know what I'm saying? We can do a lot.
Juice documentary.
Yeah, we can do, because it's
My thing is, when I talk about shit like that, it's about what are we going to learn from these situations.
Well, the thing that I learned from it is that I don't hate the man, because I didn't know him to hate him. Another thing that I learned is that you got to pay attention to the red flags. An individual who doesn't want to accept something that has transpired is a very dangerous individual. Men are very emotional and dangerous. And the red tape is that one of the OG homies from Hunters Point told me this. Sauce, the homie Sauce. We was in front of the clubhouse of Kings of Cali on 3rd, and he was like, "There's too many women in the world for a man to die over one."
Yeah.
And in the moment, sometimes we don't. For me, if I don't know you, right? I know you, Dregs.
Yeah.
If this is your girl, then I can understand. But I don't know you. So individuals need to learn how to be players about situations, and they need to let other people move on with their lives.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, this individual, he just wasn't fucking feeling me. You know what I mean? And, with him running around, town threatening me and saying what he was going to do and this and that, at some point, it was a car accident that was inevitable to happen.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah. And so...
So do you think it's something that you could have walked away from or handled differently, or it was just like...
I don't know if I could have walked away from it.
Yeah.
What, like run and leave this and move out of the Seattle?
Nah.
Like, what do you
So
mean?
then that's
You know what
no.
I'm saying? Like,
yeah, so the answer is no. Yeah.
Because even the Bible tells us that there is no cure for envy, jealousy, or hatred.
Yeah.
There's no cure for it. Well, motherfucker, if a nigga hates you, you can give him $1 million. He's still gonna hate you.
Yes.
There ain't no cure for that shit.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, there wasn't no walking away or, trying to make peace or.
Yeah.
At that particular point, you're already like stalking a nigga, basically. Like you on bullshit. And I'm not even thinking about you. Like I wasn't out there in Seattle to be shooting at nobody and beefing with nobody.
Crazy,
I'm out there
right?
doing
Like,
shows and shit. I done booked 2 Chainz and Gucci Man, and I'm out there with my boy, shout out Papa Black and Relly Rail. We out there doing big shows. We bringing the Bay. We starting up a movement called the Bayattle. Seattle and the Bay Area. I'm bringing everybody out there. Whoever's, whether it's Fab, whether it's Stalin, whether it's Field, like I'm getting everybody booked. We getting the bag. We doing shows. Everybody, we making money. You know what I'm saying? I booked Nipsey Hussle, YG, like the list just goes on and on. I got Marshawn Lynch all on stage. We got it turned up. I'm running around with Marshawn Lynch before they even knew who he even was. I'm telling everybody he finna be the next nigga. This when he running around with the Gorilla Milk. He mixing, I think tequila and Hennessy. He got some shit called Gorilla Milk and he mixing it.
The Gorilla Milk, ain't that like Hennessy and milk?
Huh?
Yahoo chocolate milk?
No. These is like it's like two alcohols. It's like a brown and a white or something.
Oh,
like
it's a Kahlua. It's a Kahlua.
It's like something that's not
Kahlua?
supposed to be together. You know what I'm saying?
I always thought Gorilla Milk was Hennessy
and
milk.
he was mixing it. He was mixing it and it was just like, and we was telling everybody. In fact, Mess was there too, and we was telling everybody like, nigga, this Marshawn Lynch. And then after that, he went out there and he did what he did to the 49ers and from there it was on. It was, he used to bring us up there to the workout camp, and we be out there with him and shit like that. One of the guys that do management is his cousin too, D. That's out there right now. On the other side back there, he always used to be saying when we be in Seattle at the Seahawks facility, D would always be like, you really want to be a Raider. Marshawn be like, shh, nigga, be quiet. But nah, man. The thing about it is that I just learned that to recognize the red tape, right? If you see some shit gonna happen before it happen, try to prevent it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I got out of it. Also, not to just get all deep and emotional, but faith as small as a mustard seed to move mountains.
You have to have faith.
You know what I mean?
Situations.
I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. They gave me. I wasn't supposed to. According to them, I wasn't supposed to get out the penitentiary till damn near 33, 34.
And you got out on appeal?
Yeah, I won my appeal. I came back. I fought my shit. I fought. I never slept.
You needed that.
They
faith,
thought I was
bro.
crazy. Like certain individuals, even people out here, they thought I wasn't coming home. I'm like, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was wrongfully convicted. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that I was railroaded. I knew that there was judicial misconduct. I knew that there was prosecutorial misconduct. I knew that there was jury misconduct. I knew that it was ineffective assistance of counsel.
Damn.
You get what I'm saying? I knew that there was perjury on the stand.
Damn.
This girl got up on the stand and cried and was like, oh, I never seen so much blood. I thought he was going to die. We don't be around guns. And then we do a little research and we find her on her page holding up choppers for sale. Come to find out, during the time when the shooting happened, she was working for the gun store.
Okay.
This type of shit,
Wow.
right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when we started to see, the thing is that you got to understand is that when you fight in state, the prosecutor, what he did was he kept hollering 404B, which means that he was blocking me from bringing up evidence, right? So when you on an appeal, that's when you get to bring in all the shit that they denied you to bring in, which is, violating your constitutional rights, right? This is how you get back on appeal because you was denied the right to a fair trial and due process.
Right.
This is the amendments,
right?
And this is where mine come in. And I had so many different violations according to the court, right? And then so, like, we filed a motion for a dude's cell phone because the police took his cell phone. We filed a motion for a cell phone. Now, before I shot him, I'm sitting in the parking lot and I see this broad looking at me, this chick, and she's on the phone and she talking, but I don't know her, right? Well, when my lawyer got the phone and they read the text messages, the chick texted him and told him that I was in the parking lot. You see what I'm saying? But he got on the stand and said that he was just going to the store to get a soda.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
You see what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of shit that was going on. There was a video that the prosecutor withheld during my trial.
Yeah.
It on the video it shows so basically I got blocked in. One car blocked me in this way, and then he blocked me this way. And then lights, camera, action, right? Well, the car that blocked me right here, these same individuals. So, dude, once he got to his apartment, because it's on camera, once he got to his apartment, he jumped out the car, jumped in another car with his chick, and drove off. Well, the camera shows, you can see the camera panning around in the apartment complex. The camera shows them dudes going in the vehicle, taking everything out, right? So when my attorney is saying, well, he had a gun on him, they saying, nah, it wasn't no guns, wasn't no evidence of no guns, but you withheld this video showing these individuals taking the shit out of the truck. You see what I'm saying? So the only way, and because he kept going 404B, he kept making it to where nothing could be said. We had to trickyly go around bringing the video evidence up. And so how we did it was, I told my judge to ask, because there was a cop. Basically, the truck was left. It was yellow taped off, and the cop was on the stand saying, oh, there was no guns, there was nothing, no bullet casings, no nothing in the truck. The truck was just sitting there by itself. It hadn't been touched, right? Now, we know that he full of shit, because how do you know? How can you get on the stand and just say that? Right? Yeah. We know that there's a game being played. So the attorney get up, I told him to go ask him about the video. So what the attorney did, he went up to him and he said, well, if somebody was to touch this car, or if somebody was to move something, would that change your statement? And he said, yeah, because evidence could have been tampered with. And then my attorney said, well, did you see the video? And then the police officer gonna look at the prosecutor and say, what video? But y'all already knew the video existed, because the video was in evidence before they even issued the warrant out for me in 50-some states, armed and dangerous. But you see how I'm breaking it down, how...
Why do you think they're so motivated to...
Because I was a rapper and I was from California. Damn. And they was trying to make an example out of me. He kept bringing up Bullys Wit Fullys in the courtroom, even when the judge told him that it was violating my constitutional rights for him to bring up music. Doing voir dire. You know what voir dire is?
Yes.
Okay, so doing voir dire, when we're picking the jurors, he comes out and asks the jurors, does anybody in here know Juice, or know anybody that knows the rapper Juice, spelled Guce? You just violated my constitutional rights, because Juice is not on trial. My government name is on trial. Yeah. Right? So now you just told these fucking jurors what to go look for when they go home. Wow. So you just prejudiced. You just tainted the jury.
So you did 6 years behind this?
Almost 7.
Damn.
Fighting though.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah, they convicted me, and then I kept fighting for a motion for a new trial, and they kept denying me until I got on the federal level. And then that's when I was able to get all of that information in that I'm telling you about, to be able to say, this is this issue, this is this issue, this is this issue. And then they had to kick me out. They had to bring me back to court, and they had to kick me out.
How did it feel when you got out after all that?
Man, I screamed.
Yeah.
Like, you know how Eddie Murphy on Coming to America, how he was like, I love America. And they was like, fuck you. And he was like, fuck you too. Yeah, that's how I was, man. When I got out, when I went to the hotel, I just went on the balcony and I just screamed, man. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy too. Like, I'll tell you a story, because I didn't have no clothes. So I had to get out with the jail shit on, right? And my wife was, she had flew out to, pick me up. And she didn't know if, she had came to court, and then she didn't know if I was going to get out that day or if I was going to get out the next day, right? But my lawyer talked to the judge, and the judge sent an email to DOC, and so they pushed everything to get me out the same day. But she fell asleep, so she wasn't answering the phone. No, I take that back. My pen wasn't working. That's why she fell asleep, because my pen wasn't working, because I was getting out. So they already had took me out of the system. I was just waiting to walk out the jailhouse. So I couldn't call because my pen wasn't working no more. And so it was this young white dude, and he was standing behind me, and he was like, I know you. He was like, don't you got a song with Mac Dre? He was like, yeah, you Juice, huh? I was like, yeah. Like, he was like, that's what's up, man. You know, he said, I heard you was in here, and, you know, because everybody was talking when I was walking through the penitentiary or whatever the case may be. And so speeding up, I had money on my books, so they gave me some of my money back. And I told the dude I would pay him to give me a ride. And he was like, nah, man, fuck that. I'm giving you a ride for free. He like, I got my sister and my girlfriend to pick me up. You know what I'm saying? And so I got out of jail with some slippers on, some orange socks, and a gray sweatsuit, and some green drawers on. You know what I'm saying? And then they shot me all the way out there to a different part of Seattle. And I jumped it. I finally was able to get my wife to come and pick me up. And then, you know, took that shower. Did my 1-2, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And got fresh, and you know, we went out, and I started eating pizza and burgers and shit I hadn't had while I was in there. And then the realization, it was about maybe like 5 a.m. It was like a little bit where the sun was rising, and I just went out there and I just screamed, and I didn't give a fuck who heard me.
Yeah.
Because I believed I knew I was getting out.
Or if you gave up, then
if I would have that's what a lot of niggas do. They take deals and they lay down.
Yeah.
But shout out to the individuals that didn't have the sources, the resources.
Yeah.
Because they was able to keep me in there because of the visits and them listening to my phone conversations, and they knew that I had resources. So the prosecutor raised my bail to $10 million.
Damn.
So it was hard for me to get a bail. So yeah, they really wanted to I couldn't be optimistic about none of that shit.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to make an example out of me.
Well, I'm glad you survived that, bro. I'm glad we're here having this conversation now.
Yeah, man, I don't really, try to get too much off into it because, law and shit could be tricky, but
we'll save it for the documentary on site in Seattle.
Yeah, no, let's do that, because, I could really get in depth and break that shit down the way that it needed to be broke down. Shout out to the witness who saw what happened, who made the 911 call. I remember the prosecutor trying to trick her up on the stand, and she told him to his face, "You can't trick me."
Damn.
I remember what happened like yesterday, and she said the dude in the black truck shot at the dude in the burgundy truck first.
Damn.
She told the courtroom, she told the jury, they were surprised that she was surprised that I even drove off. Feel me? So I'm here though.
Yeah, and then you still been dropping.
What you mean?
Music.
Yeah. I dropped a project with June on the Beat. Shout out June on the Beat. I dropped I Beat the Odds. I dropped that album. I've been dropping different songs. I got shit with Burner and shit with Rich the Factor and shit with DZ, and I've been doing a lot of features. I got shit with Chippers, and I went to LA and did a lot of recording with like J Stone, Free J Stone, Killer Twine, Compton Menace, just everybody, just a lot of people. Raven Justice, Young T.O. I just been recording a lot of stuff.
Is the music like when we talk about it, like when you started and you were really going for it? Are you still going for it, or is it more you're moving on to other things too?
My goal right now with music is to get individuals from where we from to stick to our identity.
Okay.
And who we are. Stick to our identity and our region, because the individuals like Mac Dre and Sibo and E40 and Be Legit and all of these individuals that, went on the road and paved the way for individuals like myself. And then I went on the road and paved the way for everybody else that came after me because of who we are, right? Don't lose sight of that. So, let's get back to this mob music. Let's get back to the original sources and the individuals who actually know how to make the mob music, the Tone Capones, the One Drop Scotts, the Shanties, the the DJ Darryls, the Mike Deans, the Mike Mosleys, you know what I mean? The Rick Rock beat. You know, we got to get back to the source of where it's coming from, because a lot of these youngsters today, they don't really know how to make it. And they too busy trying to remake what's already been done instead of digging in the crate and creating yourself. You know, stop just using beat packs and Fruity Loops, you know what I mean? And really get into making productions. Really get into dealing with singers instead of just always using auto-tune. Like, make the music that you grew up on, that you love so much. And because that's what they listening to all throughout the Midwest.
Yeah, I know.
They listening to everything that we did before.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see in 10, 20 years from now what we're still discussing. You feel me? Because right now we're talking about, like you said, Mr. Predictor or all your Bullys Wit Fullys and stuff that's decades ago.
Yeah.
But it's timeless.
It's timeless.
Because we still talk about it. It's still, people still listen to it. I've been wondering how much music being made today will be discussed in decades to come from now.
I don't think it will be a lot.
I agree.
I don't think it would be a lot at all, because they're not, like, the music that we made then, it had a certain type of vibration. Mm-hmm. I was talking to Tone Capone the other day, and we were just talking about how he did, you know, Smile for Me.
Yeah. Huh?
And how he wrote the hook for Smile for Me with Tupac and Scarface.
Yeah.
How he did Keep It on the Real for 3 Times Crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we were just talking about how he did Mary, Mary, Mary for Scarface. And, you know, we're talking about the production and how it sound and how it still has that vibration
songwriting
to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's called songwriting. That's called actually getting in the studio and creating a song.
Not just sending MP3s.
Nah,
around.
because that you can't, because that's not really a song. That's just a producer sending you a beat. You like the way it sound, and then you throw some stuff on it. But there's nothing wrong as a rapper getting in the studio, sitting down with a producer, coming up with, you know, some ideas, you know, bouncing ideas back and forth off each other until y'all come with that great record. And that classic record is what's gonna have the longevity 10 years from now, 15 years from now. You're gonna still be collecting a bag off of the music that you made. You're gonna still be performing your catalog music. You're gonna still be performing those hits that you made. People gonna still be booking you, you know?
In this conversation with you, I feel like I feel like you have a very deep reverence and respect for the actual music. And like, I can tell you really love this shit.
Yeah.
And I can see that's why you've been successful when you talk about everything from the photo shoots to the touring, to the distribution, to the radio, to the DJs, to the productions, to the songs, to the pen.
All of that.
I can tell you really love this shit, bro.
Yeah, I love it. It's a passion for it. It's to this day right now, if Trevor was to turn on a beat right now and that motherfucker's knocking, I'm finna feel a certain way.
Yeah, hell yeah.
My spirit finna feel, I'm gonna wanna write. Yeah. I'm gonna wanna rap on that shit. Not only am I gonna wanna write and wanna rap on it, I'm gonna start thinking about who I wanna collab with. I'm gonna start thinking about who can we have write the hook. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna start thinking about creating a song and then putting it out there. Not to the point to where it can be appreciated, because we know what the attention span is today based on what social media and what the internet has done. But the fact that the song is so powerful, you can't ignore it. That's how you fuck the game up. Make the music that they can't ignore. You can't ignore this, because the streets is always gonna win. And the niggas that's outside that got the woofers in their trunk, them the niggas gonna play the music.
Yeah, that's who controls this shit.
That's who controls the music.
Yeah. Well, also on that note too, I wanted to like go a full circle moment, because
come on,
I feel like half of this interview was about the music. I feel like the other half was about the streets.
Yeah,
it's like very certifiable shit that you're putting on record here, respectable. I also feel like dudes, like I just want to say this real quick. I deal with a lot of people, bro. Like, there's a lot of people that's really been in some shit, some serious street shit, and often they're very respectful. They're very polite. They're actually hella cool, and they don't go around fucking with people just to fuck with them.
Nah.
It's always the insecure suckers and the fakers that's always trying to be rude, disrespectful. So you've always been a very cool person, bro. So
appreciate that.
I do want to say though, since like I said, we talked a lot about it. The streets have changed a whole hell of a lot since the 90s, early 2000s. What's some shit you see? What are the differences you see going on right now, and what's the message you would have to people out there that are still doing what they got to do out there and living that life?
Well, what I see today is it ain't no more rules and regulations to the game like it used to be. A lot of individuals is running around and fabricating under false pretense, lying and shit, potting, claiming the fame of other individuals who actually paved the way and built the way for us to even be able to do what we do. I see a lot of sucker shit. I see a lot of cats letting snitches get away with shit because they got money. A lot of real sucker shit is going on, and a lot of those suckers have been put in position. So real niggas, it's a shortage on us, so we got to be careful, because the suckers that try to get you out the way, they don't want to be exposed. What I will say is that coming from Hunters Point, coming from where I come from, and I don't really got to say no names, but everybody know what I'm talking about. We had a war going on over there. And what I want to say is, let's stop glorifying that shit and let's let these babies live. You know, it's time to let people heal. These kids is growing up. Individuals who done had beef are finally having a chance to talk to each other and get an understanding of where they went wrong. Not so much as saying it's your fault that you did this, it's your fault you did that, but saying, oh, I didn't know. More so like, I didn't even know that, man. If I would have talked to you, maybe this wouldn't even would have transpired and went as far as it even went. So at the end of the day, let's let these kids heal. Let's quit talking about the past and bringing up the past, especially if you didn't have shit to do with it and you wasn't even outside. Why are you even talking about it? You know what I mean? And that's the message that I want to send out to everybody. Like, it's time to live. It's time to let these babies live. I just came from my son's graduation. I felt like a big old punk in there, man, emotional. Today I went to my son's grave, my son that passed away, and then I went to my other son's graduation, right? So you could see the emotions in there. But I understand that it's time to live. It's time to let the babies live. It's time to let them grow up and stop glorifying this shit. It's time for us to work together. Politics is stunting a lot of you guys' growth. You guys is really got a lot of talent out there, and you're never going to get to you're never going to maximize what you could, because doors are getting closed on you because you got beef with somebody. If Dregs One is doing a podcast and you need to get on Dregs One's podcast, all I gotta do is tell Dregs One, I don't fuck with you. I don't even gotta say why. But if I tell Dregs One I don't fuck with you, like if me and Dregs One is moving around like that and I say I don't fuck with you, then he not gonna put you on his podcast. You see what I'm saying? And it wouldn't be sucker shit on Dregs One, it'd be sucker shit on me, because I'm being a part of the problem and not trying to be a part of the solution. So I'm saying to everybody, let's be a part of the solution. Be a man, start working together and get to the truth. Stop letting niggas lie. Like, be a man and move based on what a man move based on. Move based on facts. Don't move based on just because this nigga said something. Like, move based on the fact that you know and you did your homework before you made any decision on who you gonna choose to work with or not work with. Because other than that, you niggas is just gonna be niggas that's just from the hood, that's just rapping to your homies. And you just doing drill music for nothing. And you just waiting on your turn to be in the casket or in the penitentiary. That's how I see it. And I'm just being factual about it.
Dig that Hope y'all taking notes, because that was real talk. I agree.
Yeah.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
It's deeper than the music. Fuck these politics. Let's just, what you say, it's time to live, bro.
It's time to live, and it's time to let these kids live. Like a lot of these kids is growing up that done lost their fathers, done lost a brother, or these moms done lost a son, or, these sisters.
It's a lot of people beefing over shit they inherited. It's like you weren't even around when you don't even know why this shit popped off.
They don't want to, because they're not allowing themselves to find out the truth. Any older nigga that's still trying to push politics on you, you need to watch that nigga.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he don't want to see nothing good from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just want to try to control and manipulate and get you out here doing some shit that he ain't willing to do. It's like when if I'm sitting in the penitentiary and we at the table playing cards, and an individual will come sit next to me and be like, man, that nigga told on so-and-so and got 5 niggas 100 years. Why you telling me?
Yeah, go
Why you ain't
that.
doing nothing about it?
Handle that.
Oh, that nigga a punk. He gay. Woo, woo, woo. And then you put him in the cell with you.
Yeah.
And then you want to have an excuse like, oh, he doing something for me on the streets. Nah, nigga, you gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the problem, like, or somebody 60 years old on the fence politicking.
Yeah.
Or this cat is starting shit with a bunch of niggas because he don't want to catch a fade by himself. You know what I mean? Because he don't want to get down. He want to drag everybody in it. Because he lying behind some shit. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not against violence. So let's understand that. Some shit got to take place. It is what it is. But I'm not going to demonize my community or anybody else's community. I'm not going to demonize, you know what I'm saying, and say, oh, this nigga wrong or this or that, because I don't really know his story. If I know your story and I know that it's a way that this shit can be fixed, then let's put some cold water on this hot shit. Y'all got to get back to working. I remember that there was a point in time in the Bay Area where anybody who dropped their music and it was hot, everybody was slapping that shit.
You got support. Yeah.
You got support. I don't give a fuck. Even if you C-Bo and you a Crip, the Bloods is slapping your shit because it's knocking. You Mozzy and you a Blood, the Crips is slapping your shit because it's knocking. You see what I'm saying? That way of, when you got people in the Bay Area saying that they don't even listen to music from the Bay, something's wrong.
Yeah, facts.
Do you remember the feeling of Mr. Flamboyant? Mm-hmm. If Mr. Flamboyant came out today, that should be one of the biggest songs today. Because it was a real record. Dun, dun, dun. Mr. Flamboyant. Motherfucker. Remember? Like, I remember riding around in the Cougar, slapping that any hood you went through, that shit was being slapped. No matter what it was. Like, if it's hot, support that shit. That's what we got to get back to. We got to get back to supporting who we are. We already don't get the respect that we supposed to get for being a catapult in this hip-hop industry. We are one of the meccas of independent hustle. We showed Jim Jones that. JT, the bigger figure, showed a lot of motherfuckers what independent hustle was about. We did that because that's all we had. We from the Bay Area. We don't got major labels like Los Angeles and New York just posted around the corner. I'm grateful for Empire now. Salute my brother Ghazi. You know what I mean? I've been dealing with Ghazi since Ghazi was 18. I got footage of Ghazi wearing Git Paid rags and long t-shirts in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like real shit. Like, it's just we got to get back to where we are supporting each other. Not, I ain't fucking with that because of this, or I ain't doing this because of that. Because at the end of the day, it's just going to continue to be perpetuated. And it's just going to continue to be Chicago niggas or Detroit niggas or Atlanta niggas taking over our airwaves, taking over our streets. Their music is getting played. Like, that shit got to change. We got to get back to the Bay that we was.
Well, there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot of real talk, man. You know what I mean? Rewind it if you missed anything, man, because a lot of jewels was dropped.
Yeah, man.
I'm really glad we got to do this finally, my brother.
Yeah, man. It's a good thing, man. Shout out to History of the Bay. Respect to all that you've been doing.
Appreciate it.
Respect to all that you've been doing. Shout out to all my San Franciscans. You know what I mean? Whether you like me or you don't. If you're doing music, man, shout out to you, man. Keep on pushing. If you're over 30 and you still got the passion to keep doing it, And if it's quality shit you putting out,
don't stop.
Don't stop.
Don't stop rapping, baby.
Yeah,
like
man.
Too Short say, don't stop rapping.
History of the Bay. You sure you got every question out you want to get out?
I think this is all they're gonna get for now.
For
bro.
now.
We'll do part 2. We'll do the documentary. We'll just keep building, bro. Yeah.
Shout out Charlie Bo. Shout out P. Will. Populaire. Who else I want to give a shout out to? I already said what's up to June on the Beat. I already said what's up to Dave. Shout out my boy Mike out there in Sac. Who I'm forgetting about, man? I don't know, man. It'd be hard to remember when you're trying to just give it up for everybody. Shout out to SF Booming Clothing. Shout out to P Branded. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to No Sucker Shit. Cheap Charlie. Right out of Hunters Point. Rest in peace to all the soldiers that we lost.
There it is.
Yeah.
Frisco. Dregs One.
Frisco, man. Sucker
Juice.
Free.
Get Paid. Bullys Wit Fullys. History of the Bay. Empire Ghazi. Trevor Potter. We out of here, y'all. Peace.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.